Hey, podcast pals. It's Dana from the Half-Ass Morning Show. As always, we appreciate you checking on the podcast, and it's all brought to you by our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. The July heat means it's officially swass and crotch soup season. Gross! It also means our AC units are being put to the test. I recently went through an issue myself, and I was so happy to have my friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning in my corner. They gave me real options, didn't make me feel like a dummy for not knowing a single thing about HVAC systems, and let me choose what worked best for my home and my budget. No pressure, just comfort my way. Enjoy the show, thanks for listening, and stay cool this summer with Standard.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93
And here we go. Here we effing go. I think we're all set. Got a few things lined up for you. Welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. Our special guest this morning is going to be Dr. Andrea Johnston. Oh, she comes from Gurman Animal Hospital in Minnetonka. So again today, if you want to text in a question about your pet's health or behavior, Dr. Andrea will try to give you a straight answer as best she can. She'll be swinging by, around 8:20. She will. You guys know how expensive pets are.
Oh, yeah. Sadly.
It can be outrageous at times.
Yeah, that's funny. My puppy, well, no, I guess she's a dog. I shouldn't call her a puppy anymore. She's 5.
Yeah,
but
she'll always be a puppy to you.
she was free when I got her. Now she's worth at least $15,000, I'd say. At least that.
Can you get her in movies or something to recoup some of that money?
Hey, maybe she'd do good. You know, 3-legged dogs, there's an appeal there.
Yeah, can she shoot a basketball?
Maybe.
Meaning that's how much money you've spent to keep her alive?
Yeah. She's worth every penny, though.
I just felt my late father spinning in his grave when he heard you say you've spent $15,000. I mean, we all know they're expensive. Trips to the vet are expensive. But they're worth it, in my opinion. If you have a good vet like Dr. Andrea, they do take care of our pets for you. The reason I bring up my old man is 40 years ago. How old am I now? Yeah, right around, maybe more like 35 years ago. We found out our Springer Spaniel at the time, the best girl in the whole world, Megan Marie. You've heard the Megan Marie stories. She needed surgery, and it was going to cost $700. And my old man, he battled with that one. He did. But he finally gave in and agreed, okay, let's save the life of Megan Marie. And we did. And she lived another 4 or 5 years. But every time she crossed his path, he would say this, $700 dog. And we're talking 15 grand?
Yeah, dude, at least.
15 grand.
All put together, yeah.
The most I've ever spent, like on one incident would be, well, it was a 2-time incident, same issue, $2,500 for a girlfriend's cat because I felt like it was my fault. He was eating the little rubber stoppers at the end of those dealies that the door stops, you know?
I'm following
at my
you.
place. So I mean, even though, a guy should have a right to have those, but it happened 2 times. Got locked up in his little tummy, and so they had to have an operation on it.
What the heck?
You got to save the little bastard's life more often than not. Pretty difficult to just say, let him go. It's different. We've all done it, but it's difficult. Do you know any of those type of folks who spend wild amounts of money on their pets, meaning not to save their lives, not to treat their problems, but do you know any of those type of folks who spend wild amounts of money on their pets, like elaborate beds and clothes and accessories?
Food, certainly. I know some people that spend crazy amounts on food.
Because they believe
and
it's
pet care.
Because they believe it's a healthier option?
Like hundreds of dollars a month. And then pet care, at least that. At a really
pet
nice
care,
place.
like
Bring a doggy daycare type of thing.
A daycare. Oh.
Oh, that can be so expensive. holy cow. I was talking to my brother-in-law. They board their dogs sometimes, and he said it was like an extra $50 or $100 a day for them to get a certain type of like one-on-one time with somebody that works there, for them to like have a little bit more personal time.
Oh yeah, they throw those different things in there.
Like what?
And this particular person I'm speaking of, they pay for all of it.
Just for some pets, some extra pets.
I was at a wedding a year or two ago, and my friends were there. They were from out of state, and they were showing me webcam footage or video footage of their dog at the puppy resort they were at. And that resort looked like nicer than anything I could ever afford in my entire life. That dog was pampered, and, he had like beachside property to roam around on. It was insane.
Some of those are crazy fancy, you're right.
I'm sorry, a pet? What did you call it? A puppy?
Like a resort.
Resort?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
You've heard of these things, Josh?
Oh, it's the same type of thing I'm talking about. Yeah, there's all the add-ons you can think of, they've got. I mean, it's like being at the world's fanciest hotel in some of those.
I mean, I've heard of doggy daycare. I don't know if I've ever heard of a dog resort.
One of our dogs to adopt it was a rescue. I mean, it was like $650, and I thought that was crazy. But then you hear about, is it Frenchies, or what's the ones that everybody's stealing at gunpoint?
I think that's right.
Yeah, French Bulldogs.
French Bulldogs, and they're worth thousands upon, like tens of thousands of dollars in some cases.
That's friggin' frightening. I was just learning about someone, speaking of pets, and the amount of money that we dump into a good pet. Sure, there's cash money you got to hand over to the vet. Maybe you need some doggy daycare. Maybe you care a little more for their diet, so you spend a few more bucks on their food. But I was just learning about someone who spent $1,500 on a custom foam mattress for their dog. When, hell, all the dogs I've ever owned usually just end up very happily sleeping on a pair of my dirty drawers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Most dogs...
Our dogs, when we were growing up, slept on the floor.
Yeah.
Never had dog beds or anything.
Or outside.
My parents wouldn't even let them on the couch.
Most dogs I know don't want a custom foam mattress. They'd actually prefer to sleep on a pile of Kleenex, that you just blew your nose into.
Yeah, my dogs rip those up. Get him a new bed. I'm so proud. Oh, look at this. You're going to be so comfy. Oh, that lasted a day.
How about this? $800 for a pet stroller.
Oh, man.
My mom has one of those for one of our little dogs.
I have a pet stroller. It certainly wasn't $800. It was maybe $18.
Yeah, I think she got it on like Facebook Marketplace or something, but it is cute putting the little dog in there.
I had to friggin' do it, but I didn't put a dog in there. I put the cat in there. And that's friggin' to watch a cat's face as you push it in a stroller around a neighborhood when all that's ever known is the inside of your house. To watch a cat's face in that situation is a lot of fun. Is a lot of fun. Where the cat just goes, son of a bitch, what is all this?
Oh, cute.
Just a kind of a mix of amazement and pure terror as you're pushing your cat around and it sees a car go by. Like, what?
I was just talking about those with our friend Janelle Tuesday off air because I like to have a ton of beverages for whatever reason. I get made fun of for that because I have like a little mini bar with me, basically, a variety of beverages. And it was a super hot day and I wanted to walk around our neighborhood. And at the time, my son was old enough to be in a stroller. So we had the stroller, and I just kind of loaded it up with beverages. And I'm thinking it was a time of day where I never saw anybody, ever. So I thought, I'm not going to run into anybody. What do I care? And then all of a sudden, I see a lady coming at me with a real stroller. And I thought, oh, no, she's going to want to talk babies, and I've got nothing but Mountain Dew, water, apple juice, all kinds of crazy stuff in here. And as we get, like, almost parallel, I realized she had a cat in her stroller, and I no longer was embarrassed.
No, you weren't the weird one anymore.
I never had seen that. That was the first time I'd ever seen something like that.
Oh, you got to put a cat in a stroller once and take it around the block, dude. It's a riot.
The cat looked like it was very comfortable. I mean, but it doesn't compare to when you see dogs on the back of motorcycles. I don't know how they stay on that. That's incredible.
Oh, when they got the little goggles, too.
Yeah, like you see them on a gold wing or something like that. They look so happy.
God rest his soul, my old kitty, Big Lou. Yeah, he was just wide-eyed. What in the hell? The first time I stuffed him into a pet stroller, how do you say it? Pet stroller, and took him around the block. But he did quickly get used to it. Here's somebody who spent $500 on a crystal dog collar. $300 for an anxiety tent for their cat. An anxiety tent.
Well, I mentioned this before. A buddy of mine used to install TVs and stuff like that, and when he was working for Geek Squad, and he went to Kevin Garnett's house back when he played for the Wolves, and in his dog kennel, he installed all these televisions and a nice stereo system, and Kevin Garnett, his excuse was, I want my babies to watch me work.
Love that.
How about a $400 DNA test to see if your dog is royalty?
Well, I know a few people have done the DNA test, but didn't you do that, Ashley?
My husband did before I met him, yeah.
Yeah, I thought somebody had done that as well.
Yeah,
I think it was only about $100. It was a gift that he got for Christmas.
It had nothing to do with royalty, just to find out exactly everything that's in the dog there.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool.
The hump
find out-
history.
Anybody else?
Hump history.
Anybody else that used the service, you could figure out like if your dog had relatives. It's pretty cool.
Big family reunion.
Oh yeah, it's got some cousins down in Louisiana, which makes sense because that's where he's from.
He's related to Clifford. He's famous.
$350 was spent once for a private pet psychic session to, quote, speak to their chihuahua about why he keeps hiding socks. I met a pet psychic once, and I gave him every benefit of the doubt. I approached it very open-minded. I met a pet psychic. Not like hired them to come to my house, but just met one night. What do you do for a living? I'm a pet psychic. And I went into it with an open mind, but I came away from it feeling just as kind of dirty as I do when I talk to human psychics, you know, where I feel like, ooh, that was sleazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not. Ashley's looking at me funny. I'm not a big fan of psychics.
Yeah, no, I
Did you
understand.
When they said that, did you believe that, or did you think they were joking?
No.
You know how everybody's grandpa, they graduated with a degree in underwater basket weaving or something like that?
I don't really remember, Josh, my original reaction. I probably did, for a brief second, think they were kidding until I saw the seriousness in their eyes, and so I asked them about their career as a pet psychic, and like I said, I tried to be open-minded, but when I walked away, I said to myself, what a scam.
I hesitate to bring up my mother on the radio, but my mom brings her dog to the doggy chiropractor.
The doggy chiropractor.
And also, he's had doggy acupuncture, which I didn't know they did for dogs.
Does that help him in his life?
It seems the same to me. I don't know.
I'm hesitant in bringing up my mother on the air.
The
we all
texts
know
that
why.
come in are overwhelming.
Here's somebody who had an iguana.
Had one?
You did?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Tell us about your iguana.
When I've lived with various family members essentially my entire life.
Yeah.
And I lived with a cousin who had two, and he ended up getting called overseas. He was in the military, and so he's like, hey, can you just keep these for me while I'm deployed? And I said, sure. And he came back and never took them back. So I ended up giving them to a different cousin after a while.
I understand.
Is it possible he went into the military just to abandon these iguanas?
That's my theory. Yeah.
Those are definitely one of those things that you get for like your kid or something, and you regret it a month later because you're the only one cleaning the little atrium that they're in. And
yeah, one of my friends, one of my high school pals, had an iguana at his house. Once we moved out, once high school was over and we all got our own place, dude had an iguana. And then one day we couldn't find the prick. And we looked all over the house. The iguana had escaped his cage and gone to live under the dryer, and he dried to death. We found this.
About that
we found the iguana under the dryer. He just had the thirstiest look on his face.
Oh no!
He just dried to death under the.
My patriotic iguanas, they got pretty big. I had to get a new cage while he was going around.
Those iguanas were real Americans.
They were.
Yeah. Those iguanas were military family.
So if anyone ever asks if I've served my country, well, if you consider babysitting iguanas part service, then yes.
Here's someone who owned an iguana, and they spent $2,000 on a custom-made iguana habitat with a fake waterfall and hammocks that what do you call the thing again?
Iguana?
Hammocks that the iguana could lay in. You know how you lay in a...
That's bougie.
Yeah, it is.
Fake water. That sounds nice.
You know, a few people are texting in on dog training, spending a lot of money on that. I did that too. I forgot about dog training as far as an investment goes. I mean, we spent, like, between our dogs, I mean, they eat 80 pounds of food a month.
That's nuts.
Between the two of them, and that's like $100 and some. We can get expensive for sure.
Well, what the hell did you buy 2 horses for?
Well, I asked my wife. More anxiety than Hair Jesus said he knows a lady who paid good money to send a photo of her horse to an animal psychic to see if the horse was happy or not.
God damn.
Off of a photo.
That's great.
Is my horse happy?
What a good scam.
And here's someone else who spent $1,800 on a fully climate-controlled doghouse. The doghouse had air conditioning.
Lucky.
Sound off if your actual home is missing any of these, the word amenities.
Well, I was just going to say, I didn't have air conditioning until I was 24.
Right.
I didn't have cable until I was 24.
Right, same here. So, yeah, let's compare this to your childhood home, Josh. This is a climate-controlled doghouse that costs $1,800. Let's compare this to your childhood home. The doghouse had AC. You did not have AC.
No.
The doghouse did have a heater.
Oh, yeah, we had radiators.
You had radiators. Wi-Fi cameras?
Whoa.
Your house didn't have Wi-Fi.
No. I got Wi-Fi cameras in 2014.
Did you have a working doorbell at your childhood home?
Nope.
This doghouse did. And
what do you need a doorbell for?
It's just cute.
So the dog knows to answer the door when you're there, I think.
Goes bat crazy.
Yeah. Oh, my God. So people, we all know what you need to spend on a pet to care for them and keep them alive and keep them as healthy as possible. But there are some folks who take it to another level. By damn, there certainly are people who take it to another level. My wife still shudders and looks at me funny when I tell her that growing up with our 2 Springer Spaniels, they spent the majority of their time outside.
Yeah, that was our family dog growing up.
All year round, 365 days a year. We had a dog kennel, and until it got brutally cold, those dogs slept and spent the day in the dog kennel. I don't know if that's a regular thing anymore. Sure, when it got brutally cold in the winter, we would bring them inside, and they'd go, "Oh Christ, here we go, we're inside." But they spent the majority of their time all day, all night.
Well, since you had an outside dog, like me, Nick, when we brought him inside during the winter when it was very cold, he just wanted to go right back out there. He didn't like being in there for too long.
Well, I mean, our dog certainly had no problem being outside, but when we brought him in when it was cold, they took advantage.
Oh, really? Yeah. No, he did not want to be in there.
They took advantage. They get up on the couch and just grind up on you.
My dad did insulate his doghouse, though.
Oh, yeah, we did too.
That's cute.
Well, I mean, what do you mean by insulate?
Like he put like actual insulation in it, like the little pink stuff.
Oh, we just had
cute.
We just had wood chips.
Hey, that's something. That's something, Nick.
Yeah, you put an effort out there.
But that's what they knew. I mean, and they were completely comfortable and safe out there. And
you got to throw in like a gas fireplace, a jacuzzi. I mean, really make it nice for them.
I'll tell you what.
Have you guys ever seen those videos of people that have? I mean, it's basically like a shed, maybe even bigger than a shed in their backyard, and it's all dedicated to their dog.
No.
Oh my gosh, that stuff is crazy. I was watching one the other day.
Just put a bunk out there. You can live with them.
No, seriously,
Yeah.
that's like I would live out there. They had a slide for the dogs to get down from their loft.
What the hell? That rules. Do they have kids too? Or are those the kids?
I think those were the kids, yeah, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because the couple I was telling you earlier about that spend the money on the dog, like all the fancy dog care, all that kind of stuff, they don't have kids. So that's basically their baby.
Oh, sure. Sure, fair enough. I'd like to see a dog go down a slide. I think other than watching America's Funniest Home Videos, I've never watched a dog go down a slide. I would imagine that's quite terrifying for most dogs.
I need to start sending you these videos. I think I see at least one a week of a dog going down a slide.
I mean, a dog could easily fall down a slide accidentally, but I want to see one intentionally send itself. I'm picturing the dog's eyes just bugging out of his skull, wondering, what is this thing that I'm about to...
If you're a new listener, this is why I hesitate bringing up my mother on the radio.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
This is, and just so you know, this isn't isolated. This happens every day.
It's every day.
There's some very mean people listening to this show. Disrespectful to a woman who served the church her entire adult life.
She served the church.
She was nearly a nun.
Almost.
Volunteers her time, donates more money to charity than she can afford.
She was almost a nun until
she got
the incident.
Yeah, there was the incident. And that incident 9 months later was me. HVAC/R and stuff, Jesus.
What are they saying now?
You know, they can take anything and make it dirty. All I said was, my mom, on this topic of people whose dogs get the treatment, my mom takes her dog to the chiropractor.
Yes.
And he says this, I'm guessing your mom also likes to go to get a good bone adjustment.
That's
Come on.
disrespectful. Disrespectful.
You know what? My mom's kind of known for her Rice Krispie bars.
Yeah.
You're not getting any, bro. I'm
More
for
for
the class.
me and Cubby.
I'm bringing them for the class, but you don't get any.
Here comes a snap, crackle, pop joke.
Son of a bee.
All this talk about our pets was started by a mention of our guest this morning around 8:20, Dr. Andrea Johnston from German Animal Hospital will be in studio. So again, if you got a question or a concern about your damned house pet, and then, you know, where the hell did I put that information? By the way, so Dr. Andrea will be swinging by a little bit later on. Well, I was gonna go further with dogs, but maybe that's enough on dogs and cats for now. That's enough on dogs and cats for now. Dr. Andrea will be here later. What else is going on? Randy Shaver will pop by. What happened now?
I'm not even going to give them the satisfaction.
Another text about your mother?
That's a good one.
You have to.
Right.
You seem to like it. Ashley says it was a good one.
I should have my mic off.
Now what are they saying about you?
I should have known better. This is from I used to deliver lube by the truckload, Jesus. And he said, yeah, your mom definitely served the church all her life.
See, now you're... That's a knock on Cubby's mother, and that's a knock on religion.
There's one satisfied congregation.
We don't...
These are great. All right, everybody gets Rice Krispie bars.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back. I think our next step will be the stupid news here coming up right quick on the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
93X
Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, podcast pals. It's Dana from the Half-Ass Morning Show. As always, we appreciate you checking on the podcast, and it's all brought to you by our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. The July heat means it's officially swass and crotch soup season. Gross! It also means our AC units are being put to the test. I recently went through an issue myself, and I was so happy to have my friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning in my corner. They gave me real options, didn't make me feel like a dummy for not knowing a single thing about HVAC systems, and let me choose what worked best for my home and my budget. No pressure, just comfort my way. Enjoy the show, thanks for listening, and stay cool this summer with Standard.
The United States Soccer Federation presents the U.S. Soccer Podcast.
The United States have the lead.
The United States in full command.
To the back post, settled, scores! Centering, doubling his tally.
Never miss a game.
Hooks it across, into the middle, and there's the opening goal. 2 for the United States.
Never miss a moment.
Barreling in, cutting in, going for goal, deflected and in. Yeah!
The U.S. Soccer Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
All right, here's something. Before we toss the salad of today's stupid news report, here's something we covered a few minutes ago. Elaborate, expensive amenities for a pet. Later on, our veterinarian friend will be swinging by, Dr. Andrea Johnston. Got us talking about pets. And we got onto the topic of elaborate expenses. I mean, sure, you got to care for them. The basics, food, taking them to the vet now and again to get this or that straightened out. But some folks spend some real money on some some elaborate things for their pets. One of our listeners, Josh, has a pre-made shed that cost around $6,000.
Whoa.
Where they keep their pigs.
Cool.
The pigs used to live in the house with them. But then they put together $6,000 to have a shed made so the pigs can live up in there.
I'm jealous of that life. That sounds awesome.
I mean, I would never ask, but I guess I have a friend who's got a really nice chicken coop.
Chicken coop?
Yeah, they got like 13 chickens in there.
Do you F chickens?
I F chickens. No, I don't F chickens.
Okay,
It's more of lovemaking.
You guys have heard of a catio, right?
Do you?
Yes.
Chickens?
What was that?
That was a guy asking the same question.
Chickens?
Yeah. What movie? I can't remember. You've heard of a catio? A couple of our listeners have catios, which is an outdoor enclosure so your cat can walk out the house and directly into his catio, and it keeps them in the yard so they can look at birds and climb things, that you put in the catio. They don't have a dollar amount, but a couple of our listeners have catios. And then another angle, Devil's Rejects. That's where the guy asks the other guy if he F's chickens.
Have not seen that.
We also discussed, I don't know if this is a thing of the past, but when we were kids, our dogs lived outside. We had a dog kennel. They slept out there. They spent their days out there. They were outdoor dogs. Yes, when the weather was brutal, we'd bring them inside. Now, here's a listener who texted in to say, our dog would get so excited when we'd let him in the house in the wintertime. He'd wag his tail so hard, he would beat it up against the washer and dryer until it started bleeding.
Oh, my brother Nick, he had a dog like that. And my parents' kitchen is white. It's all white. And so they've got an island next to a set of cupboards, and when his tail would wag, it would hit the corner of that island and just spray blood everywhere.
It would start bleeding as well.
Yes, and that is the first time I started to understand why some people need to dock their dogs' tails.
Oh, sure.
Thought, that makes sense. This is bad.
My folks had a lab that Sarah was her name. We would sing her the old Jefferson Starship song.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah.
Cute name.
And how did that one go again? Sarah, something is blooming in your eyes. We would sing her that song. We would also sing her Sarah Smile by Hall & Oates, and she loved it. But anyway, this lab, Sarah, was such a happy dog. She was so happy. And she had one of those aggressive tail wags. Mm-hmm. Man, it would sound like a drum solo when you would be friendly to her. I always enjoyed that about Sarah. She would just get that sumbitchin' tail just cooking.
Cute.
Yeah.
I worry about that with our dogs. You mentioned the dryer. One of my dogs, his tail hit the dryer, so the door was somewhat open, so he cranked it right on the open door. And then another dog, he cranked his head on a TV stand yesterday. These guys are going to fall apart.
They're clumsy dogs.
They are so clumsy.
They're very clumsy.
The following portion of the program has been edited to remove licensed music.
Right now, I'm sorry, I have to pause. Someone's telling me that the Sarah song I was just singing is not Jefferson Starship. Well, then who is it?
It's not?
Season Everything Jesus. If you think I'm wrong, who sings?
It's Starship.
It's Jefferson
I swear to God, it's
Starship.
Starship.
I love that he didn't tell you who it is. It's not them.
You tell me then. What was that, around 87, something like that? Look it up.
85?
85? Sarah. By who, Dana?
Jefferson Starship.
Jefferson Starship.
This is it, isn't it?
Yes.
This is the song we're talking about.
I hate that.
Is there another Sarah he's thinking of?
I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking of. But
Fleetwood Mac has a Sarah.
Well, yeah. That's not the friggin' one. Don't get all uppity with me, Season Everything Jesus. It's friggin' Jefferson Starship. I grew up in the 80s. Don't get fresh.
Yeah, you can't just say a band doesn't have a song with a particular title if you don't know for sure. Even if you're thinking of a different song with the same name.
Right. Hit it! And that tail would just start pumping right there when we start.
Oh, cute. Yeah. Oh, my gosh, my heart.
Mm-hmm. Sarah. Big hit. All right, I got to warn you. Our first story this morning is horrifying. I would only wish this kind of thing, Josh, on my most hated enemies. A poor bastard in Vietnam. He prolapsed himself. He did.
Ever seen one of those before?
Only in the movies.
Yeah, I've got a... Oh, yeah. Like that type of movie?
Yeah, he's not talking about a Disney movie, Josh.
Well, I assumed that. I wasn't sure if you meant a horror movie, but it's more of a horror movie. Oh, I have, not on purpose. I mentioned before, I've got a friend who used to like to just photobomb me. Maybe that's the wrong term. Just send some disgusting photos to my phone. Just surprise me with some gross stuff. And one of them was a prolapse. And I will never forgive him for that. Never. Horrible.
Yeah, that's not right. This guy I was telling you about from Vietnam, he prolapsed himself. It says here the guy suffered what they call a 13-centimeter rectal prolapse after sitting on the toilet for 2 hours. Now, part of the time, he was pressing out a deuce. But he was also all wrapped up in watching videos and whatnot. And then his ass fell out. He went to the hospital, telling everyone that his stomach hurt like hell. And he also told them there was a lot of blood in his poop. Upon examination, is how they put it here. Upon examination, doctors confirmed he had a grade 3 rectal prolapse, which is the most severe level.
They grade them.
They do. They grade them.
Hey, man, that's one of the best we've ever seen.
Yeah, they get the one guy to come in there. Yeah, no, that's a grade 2 right there for sure.
All right. And I see what they mean now. What did I read originally? A 13-centimeter rectal prolapse. So that means there was a segment of his intestine protruding from his can, and it was hanging 13 centimeters out.
That sounds like a grade 3 to me.
I don't like this.
Nobody likes this, Ashley. If you like this, you should be put in an insane asylum.
I need my brain to stop working. I don't want to picture this. Stop it.
Yeah, I know.
There's not a fetish for this, right? I mean, you hear of all these I've never heard of a prolapse fetish.
Oh, there probably is, Josh.
There is.
There really is?
There is.
Is there an initiation? Do they have to jump you in a certain way? How do you get into this club?
I happily know none of the details on this, Josh, but I can confirm it's a thing. But I know none of the details. Okay.
How's that possible?
The doctors told the poor guy, so here he comes into the, how do you say it again, hospital. He's got 13 centimeters worth of his ass hanging out. His beehole has fallen out. Doctors told the guy, if you want to make some telephone calls to loved ones, if you have any final messages for them, you can go ahead. He turned them down. They drug him into surgery to push his ass back in. And they told him if they don't tuck it back in now, he could have repeat prolapses anytime he laughs or experiences an orgasm. And the guy said, well, that's no problem. I'm married, he said. But they went ahead anyway. They talked to the dude before the procedure, and he told them that he regularly spent long periods of time watching videos on his cellular telephone while sitting on the toilet, usually around 2 hours. This was his regular thing.
That is insane.
I just weld here, Jesus said he's currently on the, quote, pooper at work, and he just stopped pushing.
Oh. I didn't realize this because I don't follow things like this. 13 centimeters is 5 inches? No.
I'm not good with measurements. I'm not even going to touch that. I need a minute.
Is that maybe that's a penis joke or something? I don't know. 13 centimeters. What does that equate to in inches?
It's 5 inches.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, the story said that.
Well, why the hell didn't... Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, because I would rather have not dealt with centimeters. I would have rather dealt with inches. I wish they would have been more clear on that.
Yeah, I think I need to take a refresher course on my measurements.
Yeah, I know nothing about such things. That's 5 inches?
Medical Device Jesus says of prolapse, don't look it up on Reddit. I don't know how or why, but he ended up there once. It was interesting for about 15 seconds, then pure horror.
5 inches.
Wow.
That's impressive.
That's a lot.
I mean, you'll notice that.
Yeah.
Knowing nothing like Ashley about measuring anything, I was just picturing just a little bit of butt hanging out. But we're talking 5 inches. That's horrible. Horrifying. So now that this story has cut loose, doctors all over the world are telling us not to spend too much time sitting on the throne. As I'm sure you've heard before, sitting there too long can make for hemorrhoids. It can make for constipation. It can make for sudden death. So they recommend getting it done in under 10 minutes. They recommend that we, quote, make sitting on the toilet bowl as uninteresting as possible.
Yeah, don't bring your phone in, even though you want to.
I spend a lot of time, how should I say this? When I do sit down to take a break, otherwise known as making number 2 skis, I do take my sweet time. I do.
I do not.
Maybe I'm going to try and carve down. Maybe that's not the proper word. Limit. Maybe I'm going to try from now on to limit. I just enjoy sitting there, taking my time. I play a little handheld poker. This story has had an effect on me, and maybe I'll try to limit. And by the way, if you're all locked up, constipation. Would you know anything about that, Josh?
I could probably help you out as far as some knowledge on that.
If you're all locked up, they say, and you cannot unleash the flurry, they tell us to take a walk, which, of course, is a track off of Mr. Big's debut record from 1989 and one of the coolest guitar riffs that Paul Gilbert ever came up with. Started off the day with a prolapse.
That's just terrible. Get a toilet timer. They sell them on Amazon.
Do they really?
Yeah, I got one for my husband.
Tell me about it.
Is he spending too much time in there?
No, I just make fun of him because, like, why does it take you so long? Something that takes me less than 5 minutes.
And you really bought a toilet timer?
Yeah, I bought it as a joke, but he uses it. So.
Well, how to explain this? I don't know what that means.
So it's like one of those hourglass situations.
Yeah.
So I think the timer is 5 minutes long.
And so an alarm goes off telling your husband to wrap up his business and get the hell out of there.
Yep.
Huh.
And he follows that rule.
Yeah, he usually does it twice.
What do you
so
mean he
10
does?
minutes.
Oh, he usually
hits the snooze button?
Yeah.
The poos button?
He's taking 10-minute dumps?
Yep. Hey, that's an improvement.
I know people on both ends of the scale where sometimes it's like a Superman changing in a phone booth. It's so fast, you think how did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
You wiped and everything and they got it all done, and then vice versa where somebody be in there for like an hour.
Well, honestly, I don't think it takes him that long to do his business. He's just like every other dude. He just sits on his phone and he's like sending me videos, sending me reels on Instagram. I'm like, hey, you can come out of there and come hang out with me too, you know.
It's funny you said don't bring your phone. A long, long time ago, a texter sent in a text saying, not bringing your phone when you're on the toilet is like going into battle without a weapon.
Oh,
and that stuck with me.
It's so true.
A couple of texts have come in on the prolapse guy. No Hawk Welder Jesus said, if I spent 2 hours on the toilet, my legs would be so dead the officials would call off the search.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Don't your legs go numb if you're sitting there that long?
Oh, yeah. That's happened to me quite a few times.
Is that when you know, okay, I got to get up?
That's when I know I got to get up. But, I mean, I've never come anywhere near 2 hours. But if you really want to know, when I sat down at the house, here at work, I try to get out of there. But at home, the hell, what am I in a hurry for? So when I am relaxed and at home and need to use the bathroom, I'm in there probably around 20 minutes because I take my time. And like I said, I play some poker. This guy in Vietnam we were telling you about who had a 5-inch prolapse because he spent too much time sitting on the toilet. Hell, I'll tell you what does this message say? A listener texted in to say that his back penis was longer than his front penis.
I had that thought. I thought, 5 inches? Why would God do that to me back there?
And then this happened, too, while we're on the subject of male anal issues. Doctors found a live eel swimming around a dude's guts. They did. He was, God rest his soul, a 33-year-old Chinese feller. And, I'm kidding. He made it through the ordeal. You know how this game is usually played because you just heard it in our prior story. Dude shows up at the neighborhood emergency room. He told him his stomach wasn't feeling good at all. His face was pale, and he was sweating his bag off. Oh, he was sweating. The doctors knocked the poor guy down onto a table and dumped an x-ray on him. He was kicking and fighting, but they went ahead anyway, and the doctors saw that something had pierced his guts and was moving around in there, swimming this way and swimming that way, slithering around in this poor guy's stomach juices.
Oh, it's got to be the worst feeling.
And that's when they realized they were watching a live eel cruising around amongst the guy's internal organs. The word is the eel had drilled itself through the man's intestinal wall and found its swimming area there in his boiler. They cracked the dude's belly open. Again, the guy's kicking and fighting the entire time. They cracked open his stomach. Doctors reached in there and snatched the eel out of there, and it was a keeper. It was a wall hanger.
I feel like I've got an eel in my stomach sometimes.
I bet you do.
Nick's got one in his pants. You should see it. 13 centimeters.
13 centimeters.
Wow.
God, I wish I would have known before I woke up this morning that equaled 5 inches. There's no way I would have ever guessed that.
No, I feel so dumb. I mean, that's something we learned in, elementary school?
Well,
they teach you the ruler?
I slept through wood shop. Anyway. Doctors pulled the eel out of the guy's stomach, and then they stitched up the hole in his guts. The dude is fine now. The eel was put into a tank in the children's ward there at the hospital for the kids to enjoy, so they can watch it go, oh, what is that? It's an eel. Now, of course, you want to know how the eel got inside this Chinese man's body. There was no official statement here in the story. Fairly or unfairly, most folks on the godless internet believe that the dude snaked it up his own bottom for what is known as sexual gratifications.
That's my theory.
Yeah.
Or the other excuse we hear a lot, that he sat on it accidentally.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, when you sit on an eel, it's embarrassing, it's painful.
That's what happened. That's what I believe happened. He sat on an eel accidentally while nude. And
well, they're everywhere, these
They
eels.
are. They are.
Oh, gosh, it just slithers on up there.
Get to the prostate. That scene is what stopped me from watching The Boys.
Oh, man. I didn't catch that reference at first, and I wish I hadn't.
It's probably because you tried to block it out, Dana.
Yeah, that was my last episode of The Boys.
All right. The dangers of mowing the yard, mowing the lawn. That kind of thing never enters my mind when I'm cruising around, cutting the greenish-looking weeds that make up my property. But, every once in a while, folks get mangled out there.
Oh, yeah, I've been stabbed by things, or I had a close call at my eye the other day.
Oh, did you have a rock fly at you?
It's always the eyes.
Yeah, and it was my son, he's just started mowing lawns for money. And so I'll go with him to help bring all the stuff. And so I was showing him how to use the trimmer. And I'm like, well, now you want it here. Put the goggles on. You always want the goggles on. When I used to landscape, mow lawns. I didn't for the first few times until I took a shot to the eye.
Yeah.
And so I was telling him, all right, and he kind of missed a spot. I'm like, well, no, let me show you. You kind of do it like this. And I didn't have the goggles on, and I took one right next to my eye.
Oh.
So he got a lesson right there just to prove how much it can happen.
I never wear any eye protection. It's like a half shield in the NHL. I don't think it's necessary.
Do you weed whip, though?
Oh, yeah. I weed whip the piss out of it.
Well, you've never gotten had to go to the doctor because you got a rock stuck in your eyeball.
Oh,
no, I've
that's
never had
bad.
a rock stuck in my eyeball. Mowing the yard. Anyone got any stories? 651-989-9393. Adventures mowing the yard, trimming the yard. Here's a gal who got impaled by a metal spike while mowing the lawn. Kylie Malone is the name she's going with. She's up to 31 years old now. She says she was mowing her lawn last month using a push mower. Don't you know?
Well, there's your mistake right there.
What?
Got to get one of those riding lawnmowers.
Oh, I like my push mower, but I just don't have a lawn big enough for one. If I did, I'd get one. A few people were telling me about their zero-turn mowers and riding lawnmowers, and I do get jealous.
Oh, they're so nice. I miss it so much.
She's mowing her lawn. She's using a push mower. She had her 9-month-old son in a carrier on her back.
I love it.
I guess there was no one else around to watch the kid. She was mowing close to her shed when she heard a loud noise coming from under her lawnmower. Something was tangled up under there. So she stopped to check to see what she had hit, and that's when she looked down at her left leg and saw a giant metal spike sticking out of her by-God calf. It certainly wasn't there before she started mowing. How she didn't feel it on the way in, I have no idea. But obviously her mower had sucked up this spike and sprayed it into her leg. She did say she released a few large curse words, including a very loud F word. But she tried to keep it dummied down because her little baby was on her back and didn't want to scare it. With the little baby still hanging on to her, she managed to walk 150 feet across her yard to call the folks at 911. Big metal spike stuck into her calf. Paramedics picked her up, but by damn, before they got her out of there, things got a little worse. While the paramedics were working on her, she's laid out on her back at this point. While the paramedics were working on her, one of them stepped on the spike accidentally twice.
Dude!
That didn't feel good.
Twice?
Yeah, twice. Whoops. Sorry about that. Whoops.
I can't. It's pretty amazing how big that spike was. It was able to throw it that far.
Yeah. Off to the hospital she goes. She had an 1.5-hour operation to haul that metal spike out of her calf meat. Now, the spike didn't hit any bones, but she did come away with what they're calling here nerve damage. She kept the spike as a souvenir. She hung it up in her garage, and now she's selling T-shirts of her X-ray to help pay for her medical BOs. The X-ray pics are interesting. I'm sure the T-shirts are, too. But she's doing all right.
Yeah, the worst thing that's ever happened to me is just like when you go under a tree and a spider falls on you or something. Oh, that's scary. It's very smart that they make those riding lawnmowers like weight controlled. Like if they feel you get off, they shut off.
Oh, yeah.
It's very smart because I definitely just took a run.
The worst I ever saw, one of the guys on our crew, part of the lawnmower blade flew off, and he took that to the ankle. That looked pretty painful.
Oh, my gosh.
We do have some texts coming in on adventures in lawn mowing. 651-989-9393. Let us know what the hell happened to you. Oh, yeah. Sent a wire flag through my calf that shot out of a mower.
Oh,
yeah,
shoot.
you know, when the companies come out and put those wire flags, they don't pick them up. That's your problem. Mm-hmm. And you forget that they're there, and you suck them up in the mower, and you shoot it into the neighbor kid's arm or something. Yeah. This guy had a wire flag go through his calf. Oh, boy, I wonder if you have to get a tetanus shot for that, or I don't know.
I don't know if I've ever seen one that wasn't rusty.
Right.
So maybe.
Right.
Saw a shaver at Hy-Vee. Jesus said, "What's a push mower? Oh! What's a push mower? Can you send me some links?"
Dude, what's a push mower?
R6 Jesus also has this advice. Make sure you keep your mouth shut, too, when you weed whip dog poo.
Oh, I've never had the dog poop. Yeah, I keep my mouth closed, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've kicked up some turds before.
Don't have a big smile on your face while you're running the weed whipper.
That's always job one for me when mowing the lawn is picking up the turds.
Now,
there.
Some of you hire somebody to do all the yard work for you. I've done that a couple of times where they mow, they clean up the leaves, they do everything, and I loved it. I enjoy mowing my yard for the most part. But
like as a one-off or a whole summer?
Like for a whole season. There's been a couple of years, maybe 2 or 3, where I hired everything out, and it was beautiful. But I honestly, Josh, I canceled because I thought I could use the exercise.
Yeah, that's part of why I like it.
Yeah.
I don't mind mowing. I do hate all the maintenance and the leaves. I hate that. So having a crew do it for me was one of the greatest things in the world. Some of you hire that job out. Some of you are that lawn care professional. Thank God for you people. You do a lot of the jobs that most of us hate to do. But by damn, that doesn't give you the right to come off like this here. It says here, a lawn mowing guy in North Carolina, he upped and threw a buck wild beer party while the homeowners were out of town.
He kind of looks like the type of guy that I would be fun to party with.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think?
I bet he's got the best and the coldest beer. He's got the finest ganj. He might even have some pills for you, whatever you want. This guy looks like he could throw a good party.
And he kind of looks like everything he says is cool, and the way he says it is even cooler.
Yeah.
He's just got a vibe to him.
So if you follow this, the family he mowed lawns for, the family that hired him to mow their lawn, they left town, and this guy turned their joint into a damn frat house. Folks in the neighborhood noticed car after car rolling down the street one night, all of them pouring onto this one property. So they called the cops. When the police got there, they met this cool guy Josh and I were talking about, a 37-year-old feller by the name of Michael Brown. The cops said that, quote, several hundred people were cutting loose, drinking and carrying on at the house. This Michael Brown dude knows people.
Yeah, look at you with all your friends.
Several hundred. Now, when the cops approached Mr. Brown, he tried to tell them that he was the homeowner, and then he said he was the grandson of the homeowners. These are the cops' words right here. They said, after several additional epic failures at telling the truth, Michael Brown finally admitted he was the lawnmower guy and had no relation to the homeowners whatsoever. The actual homeowners were off on vacation, summers, at the time of this colossal all-time beer party. Police broke up the crowd, told everyone to put their clothes back on and get the hell out of there. Mr. Brown was arrested and charged with breaking and entering, contributing to the delinquency of a minor, second-degree trespassing, all kinds of things like that. Now, someone got a word out of this Michael Brown, party maker, lawnmower character. And he said, I have done nothing wrong.
Bold.
This could be confident.
Okay.
Like I said, everything he says is cool, even in the face of obvious evidence that you did something wrong. He's cool.
I have done nothing wrong, he said to the police. And he also said he thinks that the homeowners will still use him for their lawn care when they come back from vacation.
What is going on?
I don't know.
That's a confident fella right there.
My job? I'm not worried about my job. They'll keep me on as the lawnmower guy. Why? What did I do? I love that about this man.
Here's another lawn nightmare from the Brotherhood. 651-989-9393 if you ever want to text our Luther Bloomington Kia text line. I worked in commercial lawn care, this person says. We had a temp that whipped a metal flag through his cheek and into his mouth.
Weed whipped a metal flag through his cheek.
Oh.
Can you imagine seeing something like that?
I'd like some follow-up on that. I'd like some, if this guy doesn't mind. Did it knock any of his teeth out? Did he die on the spot?
What did the flag say? Maybe it's like an ironically funny thing. Like center point, or I don't know.
All right. Do we have time for this last one, Josh?
Why not?
All right. Keep an eye out for this time next. I'll get there. Keep an eye out for this, is what I meant to say. Next time you get sick. Josh, you are currently hauling around Hennepin County's most compromised immune system.
Not anymore, but yeah, there was a time at Dakota County.
And you like the latest techie stuff, too, so this is perfect for you. You could be the first sorry sumbitch to try this. I mean, of course, we all know that some illnesses aren't even real. A lot of them are just made up by the media or politicians to try and ruin presidential elections. We all know that already. And there are certain medications that are fake, too. All they do is make it easier for you to be tracked and put under control of the man. We all know all of that already. But despite having that knowledge, I'm going to go ahead anyway. Researchers in China have up and announced a new way to treat sinus infections. Instead of antibiotics, you'll go ahead and shoot an army of tiny robots up into your nose holes.
I wonder what they can do for constipation.
Oh, boy.
They chew through that?
Chew through it, he said. Good Lord.
Drill.
They call this here the latest in nano-bot technology. Now, I have no idea what I'm about to say, so hopefully you do. Technically, they are microbots because they're still big enough to see under a normal microscope, but microbots are very small. Each tiny nose robot is smaller than a speck of dust, thinner than a human pubic hair, and they're programmed to wipe out bacteria. It's not clear how many of the little bastards you have to fire up into your nose portals. Scientists now, who have no idea what they're talking about, they tested the nose robots on innocent animals and say this kind of thing could be approved to treat sinus and bladder infections in humans in 5 to 10 years.
That's pretty awesome.
Pretty cool. I mean, I suppose they're doing robot surgeries and whatnot. The robots are going to take over someday.
Science is crazy.
You shoot these tiny little robots into your nose. They eat away at your infection. Now, what the folks in charge of this operation are still trying to figure out is how to make sure they can get all those nose robots out of your body after you sprayed them up there. But they're hoping they'll just come out when you blow your nose or sneeze suddenly.
Another lawn disaster here from Golf Course Lawn Mowing Jesus. One summer he was mowing, hit a plastic garbage bag, which caused the blade to become spring-loaded. He pulled the bag out and lost his pointer and middle finger. And he ends his text by saying, "Sadly, I can no longer do the shocker."
Wow.
Can you imagine he's bleeding out? Oh, no, the shocker. I can't do it anymore.
I would never think something like that would happen.
Cause the blade to become spring-loaded, and then suddenly it fires right back at you.
Sorry that happened.
Oh, that is so scary.
It can be scary out there, Ashley. I'll tell you that right now.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
They gave him the nickname Big Dumper because he has a pretty large posterior. And he did not like it. His former teammate Jared Kelnick said he hated it. I just said, just wait, it'll come around. Then they're making T-shirts about it, and it did come around.
We're getting a close-up.
I don't know if we need that, guys.
That's the New York Yankees television broadcast team. They were briefly obsessed with Cal Raleigh's Big Dumper. Cal Raleigh, terrific catcher for the Seattle Mariners. I believe he still leads major leagues in home runs. Yankees and Mariners were playing the other night, and they couldn't get enough of Cal Raleigh's big ass.
It is a funny nickname.
Big Dumper?
Yeah, they're not wrong. He's got what I've heard described as hockey butt a little bit.
Bubble butt?
Yeah.
Don't look up Cal Raleigh's butt and then hit images if you're at work. Don't do that.
What do you mean?
A lot of porn.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh.
There must be a porn star with a similar name.
I'll have to go along with it.
Yeah.
They call him Big Dumper or just Dumper or Dumpy or Big Dumps.
Big Dumps.
He didn't like it, like you heard the announcer say. He didn't like it at first, but now he's coming around to it. Hell, they're making T-shirts. They sell more Big Dumper T-shirts at Mariners games than they do Cal Raleigh jerseys.
Yeah, he's
he's
got a bubble butt.
Yeah. Randy Shaver got a big ass. We'll ask him about this in a half hour when he joins us.
Is that something you like, Ashley? I forget. Were you the one? There's somebody that works here that's obsessed with hockey butts.
No, not me. I've never really cared about.
I think that was Pablo.
What a dude's.
Oh, is that who it was?
Must be.
The Twins
he had that bumper sticker, didn't he?
It said hockey butts
drive him nuts.
Twins beat the Cubs again last night. This is great so far. I know Byron Buxton got hit by a pitch last night. I don't know. I read that he's going to be all right. We'll see. Twins beat the Cubs again. They play a day game today. Joe Ryan going to go ahead and go to Atlanta for the All-Star game next week. We can get into greater detail here in about a half hour. For now, we'll take a little breaky break and come back with Cubbies news in a few minutes.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, podcast pals. It's Dana from the Half-Assed Morning Show. As always, we appreciate you checking on the podcast, and it's all brought to you by our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. The July heat means it's officially swass and crotch soup season. Gross! It also means our AC units are being put to the test. I recently went through an issue myself, and I was so happy to have my friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning in my corner. They gave me real options, didn't make me feel like a dummy for not knowing a single thing about HVAC systems, and let me choose what worked best for my home and my budget. No pressure, just comfort my way. Enjoy the show, thanks for listening, and stay cool this summer with Standard.
Jim Rome takes on sports.
Why? Because you're not playing me.
With rapid-fire takes.
And a lot to get to, and I'm not sure you're going to like all of it. Honestly, I don't even care if you like all of it or not. I have a job to do.
Scorching debates.
On any given week, you have lots to beef about. Take advantage of it. Get up in here.
He's the Spitfire of sports smack.
She's not my fault. We will get to all of that.
The Jim Rome Show podcast.
Get up in here, and we'll beef later on. What's your beef?
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
You've been warned.
This is a movie where zombies infect people with their diarrhea.
We made a dark satire about medical disinformation, and I don't want that to get lost.
No, it's true. It's a very deep and complex film, but I want that diarrhea explosion. This is a hill I will die on. We are getting that explosion.
93X.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
I wanted to throw up. I wanted to be sick. Pretty bad. I think they've been in there probably the whole time I was gone, going in and out, just taking stuff, ransacked. It's hard to even tell what's gone and what's there.
A 34-year-old delusional woman named Misty Cape was the subject of this week's Wichita Falls Area Crime Stoppers Manhunt Monday. Cape's face might already be familiar to members of the Wichita Falls Rants and Raves Facebook page because she became locally known for burglarizing a home and posting about the crime on social media. In one now infamous post, she wrote, "People need to mind their own business."
Oh, my God.
This woman called me trash just because I broke into her house and stole some stuff. She doesn't even know me, essentially admitting to the crime online and completely delusional about her role in it.
My goodness.
Cape, who also goes by Misty Criddle, is wanted for theft of property.
She's being serious with all that?
Yeah, she stole like up to $30,000 worth of stuff, but it's the...
And doesn't want to be called trash.
No, it's the victim that
because you don't know me.
Right. Hey, you can't say these negative things about me.
Even though I broke into your home and stole your items.
I just took everything you own.
We're done.
Yep.
We're about done.
A statue of Ronald McDonald was stolen in broad daylight from a sleepy Pennsylvania town's only McDonald's.
Oh, scary.
Leaving local police trying to track down the suspects.
I was very angry. I woke up to a text with a picture of the wall, and it said, "Where's Ronald?" So then when I checked the footage, you could see them in here horsing around a bit, and then it was busy, and they just scooched out the two side doors.
The lost effigy shows the famed smiling redhead kneeling in his bright yellow uniform. "We're not clowning around. This was a full-blown McNapping," local police wrote on Facebook.
Dicks.
Ronald was... They had some other ones I left out.
Yeah.
Ronald was last seen smiling as usual, unaware of the betrayal.
Smiling as usual.
Surveillance footage caught the young suspects fleeing the scene with a couple of unique details that might help police track them down. One guy was rocking a pair of fish flops, the novelty sandals shaped like actual fish.
No kidding.
And one of the girls had on bright pink headphones. Oddly enough, Ronald statues have a bit of a history when it comes to mischief and mayhem. In 2017, a couple of hamburglars, police called them, made off with a life-sized Ronald from a McDonald's in New Jersey. Before that, someone in Vermont decapitated a statue, sawed off its feet.
I get it.
That's evil.
It's going a little far.
That's not right.
By the way, shout out to Wild Fan in Vermont Jesus. He's the president of the Vermont chapter of the Brotherhood. He's checking in this morning from Vermont. There was a time in 2019 when a would-be arsonist in Israel crucified a Ronald statue and called it McJesus. That sparked a wave of outrage and protests.
I don't even know if I understand that.
These days, few McDonald's locations still feature the chain's classic mascots. Over the last decade, most of them were phased out as part of a modernized push. Although I kind of wonder if it's because of all those videos and pictures going around of women servicing Ronald in various ways.
You see those from time to time.
Like the one with his legs crossed on the park bench or whatever it was. That one was pretty famous.
Yep.
For all the dirt.
What's the problem? Ron can't get a BJ now and again?
Well, I guess maybe they don't. That's not the image they want.
You know, Ashley, I heard and saw you react negatively when Josh started talking about Ronald McDonald. If it makes you feel any better, I met the man in La Crosse, Wisconsin 10 years ago, and he's a nice guy.
I don't know.
Does even Ronald freaks you out?
I think that might have been the clown that started it for me.
Oh, I would think he'd be the exception.
No, I remember when I was a kid being really weirded out by that.
I talked to the guy.
Actually, give the guy a chance.
I don't like that.
Nick's vouching for him.
I'd rather have him not talk. Or I don't know. Maybe that'd be creepier.
No, you want to talk to him and get to know him. Take the fear over.
See if we're make some friends with him. Yeah, maybe that would help. Can you get me in contact with this guy?
He was a nice guy.
An unlicensed moron was street racing in a car his grandma had just bought for him. Sadly, he caused a devastating crash. This happened on an Arkansas highway.
You think your grandma could have bought you a car that could win a few races, John?
Oh, heck no. No, you should have seen the car she was driving, too. And if you're wondering what Grandma had to say about her moron grandson racing another moron, turns out she was the other moron in the race.
F me.
It happened late at night, May 30th. Mackenzie Arthur and her sister Maddie were out driving around at 11 p.m. Their car was rear-ended by the teen, doing well over 100 miles per hour. And as I mentioned, he didn't even have a license. The impact sent the car flying across the center line right into the path of an oncoming semi-truck. Less than a week later, June 5th, Arkansas State Police arrested 16-year-old Ian Phillips and his 71-year-old grandmother, Martha. Martha and Ian reportedly traveled to Missouri to buy a Camaro for him. Then they traveled back to their home in Scranton. During that trip home, court records say Ian was flying down the road at about 155 miles per hour when he slammed into the girl's car. Investigators say Ian's sister told them that he'd been bragging about racing grandma before the crash, saying she only maxed out at 120. Officials also say Martha gave Ian the car fully aware he didn't have a license, and despite knowing about his reckless past, including running from police in a side-by-side and crashing one of her other vehicles and totaling it into a field.
This is a wild family.
Yeah. Now both Ian and Grandma are due back in court tomorrow morning.
Are they distant relatives of Bobby Allison or Cale Yarborough or anything like that?
Yeah, I didn't recognize the last name as being a famous racing family, but Grandma's racing this kid.
Yeah.
155 he's going.
Jeez.
Gosh, that's terrifying.
Distant relatives of Terry Labonte?
Teenagers, right? They're nature's most baffling creations. They communicate in TikToks, eye rolls, and cryptic slang. They trail an odoriferous bouquet of body spray and bravado in their wake. And as I've publicly confessed, I cross the street when I see a pack of them heading my way. But every so often, against all odds, they do something that reminds you there's real heart under their hoodies, something that makes you damn proud. Case in point, our next story out of Big Arm, Montana, which is a real place, and a new nickname for my penis, by the way.
Big Arm, Montana.
Along with the Thicky Icky, Girthquake, Private First Class Terry Tickles.
That's my favorite.
And Veiny Lee Squirtus.
I went down several feet, but the rock stopped the lawnmower from going the rest of the way, so it just rolled over on its side, and I was trapped underneath it, and we figure I was there for about 4 hours.
On a day we've been talking about lawnmower horror stories, two teenagers on a jet ski ended up becoming heroes when they helped rescue a 72-year-old woman trapped under a lawnmower when it rolled off a cliffside near Flathead Lake.
God dang, a lawnmower rolling down a cliff.
Yeah.
And you see that from your jet ski?
That's right.
I got to make another trip to Montana. That sounds really interesting.
This happened June 27th. Kylie Geyer was mowing her property when she hit a rock and lost control, sending her tumbling down a steep slope.
That must have been one hell of a rock.
I know. The mower flipped and landed on top of her, pinning her to the ground. She could barely breathe. And for nearly 4 hours, all she could do was wave one arm, hoping someone would see. Someone turned out to be two 14-year-olds, Danny Fair and Channing Thompson of Billings. They were both out fishing nearby. They spotted the movement, rushed to shore, called 911, and then climbed up the slope to stay with Kylie until help arrived.
I thought I was on my last breath, and then I saw my heroes.
So I was basically telling her, you're not gonna die, you're gonna stay with us. I feel like there was some sort of divine intervention to make me look at that hillside and see her.
They will be with me for the rest of my life.
Oh.
They're never going to have to pay for butterscotch ever again. Grandma will hook them up.
You want some Werther's Originals, they know where to go.
She spent 4 nights in the hospital with a fractured vertebrae and bruised ribs and says she'll forever be grateful to the boys who came to her rescue.
What an adorable lady.
Totally agree.
Ain't that something right there?
A 36-year-old Florida woman was arrested after she crashed her car, hid naked in some mangroves, and later bit an officer just trying to help her. The incident began about 5:30 p.m. Tuesday when 911 started getting calls about a woman, later identified as Kelsey Cole. She abandoned her car right in the middle of the freeway. Witnesses said Cole was then seen running up to random vehicles and trying to get in.
Meth.
A short time later, officers started searching and found her naked and hiding in the mangroves near a bridge.
The mangroves.
It's like a swampy tree jungle.
Huh. I'd never heard that before.
I'm sure you've seen them. Cole ran back into the water and stayed there for about 45 minutes as several boats from different agencies tried to help her, including the cop that she introduced to her incisors. Cole, who Clearwater police said was involved in 2 crashes even before that incident, was taken into custody and brought to the hospital to be evaluated.
Yeah.
Officer also taken to the hospital for possible rabies shots. Cole's bite out of justice Tuesday wasn't exactly the most notable bite in history this week. The timing was oddly poetic because July 9th, 1997, yesterday's date, nearly 30 years ago yesterday, Mike Tyson banned from boxing and fined $3 million for biting a chunk out of Evander Holyfield's ear in one of the most infamous moments in boxing history.
I'll never forget where I was in that particular evening. It was something to see.
Police are sharing new details about a rear-end crash that happened Tuesday afternoon in Pennsylvania, one that left a driver injured and ended with another in custody. According to investigators, a 34-year-old woman from St. Louis admitted she was driving 100 miles an hour when she slammed into the back of a pickup truck, but she said she had a reason. The impact that sent the truck crashing into the front of a local smoke shop sent her sedan coming to a stop in someone's front yard. When officers questioned her, she told them she was listening to the voice of God.
No.
Yet driving like a bat out of hell.
Meth.
Authorities later discovered she'd hit other vehicles before the crash and may have been under the influence of something a little stronger than just celestial guidance. Detectives determined drugs were more likely to have caused that crash.
The voice of God himself, she said.
I wonder what he sounded like. Or she. I don't know.
Hey, you're driving awful fast.
I just picture like Morgan Freeman every time.
Where are you going?
Yeah, you're right. It's Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
It's not Fran Drescher.
I'd be disappointed if it wasn't.
I got shotgun.
A 23-year-old driver went from Miller time to jail time after pulling over on a Connecticut highway to chug a beer before getting clocked at 122 miles an hour. About 1 a.m. Sunday, June 22nd, he pulled his SUV on the shoulder of a freeway. Troopers stopped to check things out and noticed everyone in the car was standing outside. But before they could say a word, the SUV sped off. Not long after, another trooper spotted the same SUV tearing down the highway at 122 and a 65, weaving through traffic. When pulled over, the 23-year-old lowlife drinking a Miller High Life showed clear signs of impairment, slow action, slow speech, and the open beer cans helped tip off the trooper, too. He straight up admitted to pulling over just to chug a beer, then thought, why not hit the road again? That wasn't his best idea, as he failed the field sobriety tests and spent the rest of the night sleeping it off on a jail cot.
You know what I can't do at all, no matter how hard I try, and that is drink and walk at the same time.
Oh, really?
Can't do it. I have to stop in order to take a drink. Like at the fair when you're walking around.
Yeah,
sure.
That stresses me out. I guess I could see if it, was open like that.
Yeah,
but if you've got like a can or like a
doesn't matter
water
what it is.
bottle?
Can, bottle. Well, I can sip out of a straw. That I can do. I'm talking about drinking out of a can or a bottle or a glass. I cannot do it. There's something about my gait that doesn't allow me to drink and walk at the same time.
Interesting. But you should practice. I mean,
I've tried.
Come in handy at the state fair for sure.
Yeah, that's where I run into trouble. I've tried over and over again, Josh, to somehow adjust my stroll, but nothing works. So I always have to stop for a while, drink, and then start up with the walking again.
What about the power of the mind? Can you just pretend you're sitting on a bar stool? I mean, you have so much experience
I wish I could come up with something, Josh.
A 42-year-old Metro Atlanta man with big muscles faces multiple charges after officials say he knocked another man unconscious in a very unusual way. July 2nd, at a boat slip on Lake Lanier, the 59-year-old victim, 42-year-old Logan Young, and two women were on the victim's boat when things took a chilling turn, quite literally. According to deputies, right after they dropped anchor, Young dropped pants. He got naked, and that sparked an argument. During the heated exchange, Young punched the 59-year-old in the chest and stormed off the boat.
Ouch.
The group assumed Young had gone back to his own boat, and the victim started walking the two women toward the end of the dock. But suddenly, Young reappeared out of nowhere like a horror villain and threw a deep freezer at the victim.
Whoa.
Bonking him right in the friggin' head. Literally knocking him out cold, spilling the semen overboard, and splashing him into the lake. When the victim came to, he managed to swim to shore with a large cut on his head, but refused medical treatment. About 3:15 a.m. the next morning, deputies got a warrant for aggravated assault and tried several times to announce themselves, but they say Young turned off his boat lights and silenced his phone. They entered that houseboat and found him hiding under a bed.
Oh, by God, the dude just took a freezer to the skull.
Yeah. I mean, they only showed this guy Young, from about the neck up, but he looks jacked just in that photo right there.
Looks like he could throw a freezer with ease.
Definitely.
All right.
What started as a late-night prank ended with a police response and a list of charges for one very naked 28-year-old West Virginian. Police had been dispatched after multiple residents reported a man screaming and running through the hallways, unburdened by fabric of any kind. When officers entered his angry girlfriend's apartment, they found clothes strewn across the floor, a smashed television, a ripped-out shower head, a broken window, a hole in the wall, and 28-year-old Dakota Kirby wearing nothing but an embarrassed expression. When cops spoke to him, he said, "I was trying to play a prank on my girlfriend by running naked in the hallways and messing with her apartment," admitting, quote, "it was not a good decision." And he was right, because while talking to the guy, police ran a records check and found an active warrant for his arrest.
You see, there you go.
Gosh, what a POS.
He thought she'd think that was hilarious. Look, I destroyed your apartment and now I'm naked.
Nothing's more funny than not being able to get your security deposit back.
Well said.
Got a funny sense of humor, this guy.
Yeah, people just don't understand him yet.
Yeah, you don't get it.
He's different.
Jessica Simpson, 45 today.
Jessica Simpson.
Sofia Vergara, who's having a summer romance with Tom Brady, 53.
Really?
Yeah, supposedly.
Sophie, what's the shows I know her from?
Modern Family.
Oh, yeah.
She's such a babe.
She's seeing Tom Brady.
That's the rumor.
That's a friggin' shame.
They're having a summer fling.
Oh, that's just disgusting to me.
And Thailand's viral hippo Moodang turning the big old hip 01 today.
Yeah, happy birthday.
And I read she's celebrating by digging into a huge tropical fruit platter with her mom and thousands of fans who showed up for her 4-day birthday party.
Oh, man.
I wish I could be there.
Will you get a grip, please?
Never, dude. Moodane forever.
A 4-day birthday party.
4 days.
That's a hell of a bender.
And a shout out to I Work with Richie Jesus. It's his ultimate F-off day, last day of work until the 23rd, taking his son to the BWCA. Have fun, boys. And that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
He farted terribly.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hopefully Buck's okay. I think that hit the knob of the bat.
Yeah, it was loud. It was loud. He has that pad on his hand because they do love to crowd him in, especially with sinkers. I don't like this.
All right, before anybody wets their pants, I read that the X-rays on Byron Buxton came back negative. Hi, Randy Shaver.
Good morning.
He got hit on the hand by a pitch last night.
Yep.
I read the X-rays were negative. I don't know.
Yeah. I think sometimes even with that, though, you can miss some time because...
Well, we don't want him to miss out on his All-Star experience.
Oh, no way. So, and I don't want him to miss Saturday.
Right.
Because Paul Skeens is pitching against him on Saturday.
But isn't there a chance
And that's Byron Buxton bobblehead with sound night.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Or day. I guess it's a day game.
It's the Buck truck.
All right, so maybe he misses the day game today. Best case scenario, he misses the day game today. He plays in that Pirates series. He plays in the All-Star game. He performs in the Home Run Derby. Twins beat the Cubs again. What's so special about this Cubs ball club? I thought they were supposed to. I thought they were supposed to be something. They look SAWFT soft to me.
Yeah, maybe the Twins are looking at him and thinking they're the White Sox. I don't know.
Twins got off to a nice start again, scored a couple runs right away. Matt Wallner, Dong, David Festa, the Twins starter, 5 1/3. The bullpen was great from there. So, the big news, though, is, well, number one, great that the Twins have already won this series over Chicago. They got a day game today.
Yeah.
What's his name with the hairdo and the mustache? Chris Paddock's going to pitch today. Maybe get that sweep that I predicted yesterday. That's the most important thing. Keep winning ball games, but the concern now is Buxton.
Right.
And he's having such a terrific year. We'd hate for him to miss out on all that all-star jibber-jabber.
Well, and then also Joe Ryan named to the All-Star game.
Because someone got hurt or because they're pitching on Sunday or what?
No, I think I thought I read this morning it's an injury replacement.
That's what I read too.
So I'm not sure which player is...
Hunter Brown.
Okay, for Houston.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we all agree Joe Ryan deserved to get in without the injury replacement designation. So
right.
This is a good thing for the Twins and for Joe.
Hopefully he gets into the game. People are text that you think for sure he'll get into the game?
I think these guys, they find a way to get... It's guys that pitch... Well, I shouldn't say that. He pitches Saturday. The game is Tuesday.
Right.
It's usually guys that pitch on like the Sunday prior or, maybe even the Saturday prior. That's, they will hold off on.
I thought if you pitched on Sunday, you were not allowed to pitch in the All-Star game.
That is true.
Yeah.
And so maybe as obviously he's going Saturday. But see, Skeens is going Saturday too.
Now, see, people are telling us Skeens pitches against Ryan on Friday now. People are texting that in.
I thought
yeah, that's true. Yep.
Oh, it is Friday now.
Yeah, I just pulled up.
I thought it was Saturday.
Well, maybe it was, but both clubs have changed their mind. I don't.
Well, if that's the case, then
I haven't seen the official word.
That's likely a better situation to pitch. Here it says we'll make his next start Friday instead of Saturday to allow the rest for the All-Star game.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's likely what the Twins and Pirates are doing.
That gives him a much better chance than to throw on Tuesday.
A text just came in that said that Trevor Bauer's been named to the American League All-Star pitching staff.
I knew that.
Yeah.
He certainly deserved it.
Where I'm going with this is simply there's always one or two guys that get left out in the All-Star game because of certain situations, like you want a lefty against a lefty, that kind of, there's always someone who's left out. I just hope Joe Ryan isn't that guy.
Usually it's a guy that sometimes they even ask if you don't need me, sometimes it's a veteran guy. It's been around for a while, pitcher if you don't need me to throw, I'm just happy with the honor. That kind of thing could fall for Kershaw for the National League. He may just be there. Thanks for the recognition.
Right.
I don't need to throw. Let the younger guys go. So,
Joe Ryan said when he was informed that he's been named to the American League All-Star team, he said, watching Byron Buxton participate in the home run derby is one of the things he's most looking forward to. So let's hope that all becomes a thing. Joe Ryan, 8-4 on the season with a 2.74 ERA. He's racked up 116 strikeouts. He deserves to be there. And then you get the Joe Ryan trade rumors on the same day. There's always going to be trade rumors. And, of course, like we discussed yesterday, the Twins are hovering around 500. Where at the end of this month is the trade deadline. What will be their approach to the trade deadline? If they are sellers, of course, there are competitive teams that would like to pluck some talent away. The latest rumor is Joe Ryan being traded to the stinking Boston Red Sox.
I can't imagine they would do that just because he's such a main part of that rotation. How do you replace that next year? So you better be getting quite the haul for a guy like Joe Ryan.
Big surprise, the other team that's looking to snatch up everything they can at the trade deadline will be the New York Yankees, and they're being linked to the Twins closer, Joan Duran. Now, that one I wouldn't have a problem with.
See, I think that's a lot more likely. Because
I do too.
Griffin Jacks is there. You can mess around with closer by committee if you had to.
Right.
And Duran's got a lot of value. So
don't get me wrong. I like the guy. I like Duran, whatever the hell. He's very good at what he does. He has, like you said, he has a lot of value. I think this club needs one of those trades right now where you just get a big haul. This club needs some kind of spark like that. And I think Duran would be the guy.
The only thing about getting a big haul, though, Nick, is if you're getting a haul of minor league guys that obviously have a lot of potential, those names aren't going to be necessarily recognizable, and they're likely not going to be jumping into your lineup, at the major league level.
See, my perfect scenario trade, it wouldn't be loaded with minor leaguers. There'd be a couple of established players in there as well. That would make me happy.
I think the Twins, when you look at their roster, guys that make sense at a trade deadline are veteran guys like a Ty France, who would have some value for a team looking for like a Don Baylor kind of guy down the stretch. Harrison Bader falls into that category too.
Sure.
Even a guy like Jeffers.
Willie Castro has been thrown
Willie
around.
Castro for sure. I mean, he's got so much value because he can play so many different positions. And because Brooks Lee has popped onto the scene and looks like he's here to stay, you can fiddle with that lineup a little bit too. I mean, Correa would be definitely part of that conversation, but he makes so much money and he's got a trade clause.
Yeah. He already said he doesn't want to go anywhere because his kids love Minnesota.
Yeah, which is great.
Now, this is really fun, at least for me, to talk about. UPS Golden Valley Delivery Jesus just texted in, and I was going to ask about this because I thought I had heard it. Summers, for this year's Big League All-Star Game, they're going to let the players wear their own team uniforms as opposed to those obnoxious, stupid All-Star uniforms they've been coming up with the last few years.
That's
where
cool.
You can't even determine what team the guy comes from. You can't even read the jersey numbers because they have to always come up with these stupid once-in-a-lifetime uniforms. This year, they're going back to letting the friggin' guys wear their regular uniform. Good.
And that's the way it used to be when I was growing up.
Oh, that's the way it always was.
Yeah, the only thing about that is if you're used to one team's wearing blue and one team's wearing white, sometimes you don't know who's on what team because of that. But at least they represent their team with their official jerseys.
Yeah.
So
my biggest problem when they were using the special all-star jerseys is there's a lot of guys in Major League Baseball, and a number of them that make the All-Star game, I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah.
So it would take me 20 minutes to figure out who the hell is pitching right now, as opposed to recognize, you see the uniform, you can put two and two together.
Right.
I hate the way they overdo all that stuff. It's nice. It's good news that they're going back to the... Now, what do you think of the automated ball strike system being used at the All-Star game? Because that's what they're going to do next week. The stuff we saw in
right.
spring training.
As a backup to the umpires, you mean?
Well, yeah. The automated ball strike system is coming to the All-Star game.
Where you can challenge it,
yes.
is what you're saying, yes.
That's
fine. I mean, that's a good place to do it. It's an exhibition game. It doesn't, necessarily count. Sure, I don't have a problem with that.
Trying to warm baseball fans up to what will likely be installed next season.
Yeah, it's coming.
Oh, I hate replay.
I know. Actually, in the NFL, though, it has proved to be extremely valuable. So it's just now getting to be a part of what we're used to.
So look for that in the All-Star game. Each team is given 2 challenges, and they can retain them if they are successful challenges. Only a pitcher, a catcher, or a hitter can ask for a challenge. And it has to happen almost immediately after a pitch, where a pitcher can say, hey, I don't know, you called that a ball? I think it was a strike.
Yeah, because you don't want them to be in the dugout looking at the pitch, and then deciding, are they going to challenge it?
They say there's no help allowed from the dugout or any other players on the field. It's just the pitchers, the catchers, and the batters who can tap. They tap their helmet, and that tells the umpire they want to challenge the pitch.
All right, I like that. Then
that's the bone of contention with the NBA is that they have these video guys sitting in the second row of the coaches area that are constantly reviewing. And sometimes the referees, and we heard that in the playoffs, they kind of slow walk the ball to go into play because they realize a team is probably deciding if they're going to replay or not, challenge it. That gets to be kind of a gray area, it's because a lot of teams where the challenge could go against them are complaining, give us the ball. We want to put the ball in play, so that you don't get a chance to challenge.
There's a lot of gray area all over replay in every sport. Those guys that sit in the front row, the NBA coaching staff guys you were just describing who have the video boards in their laps, and that's all they do is just wait.
That's all they do.
Wait to see if there's something they need to review. Kind of a fun gig.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
Stressful.
Although
That'd be stressful.
They'd probably catch me watching the backup Terry video or something, when I'm supposed to be.
You're scrolling
Miss
to Twitter.
Bum contest?
Yeah.
You got to take that week off when they'll host that.
That's why there's not just one person doing it.
Yeah, the coach looks at you like there's 3 of them like that. I think
right.
The coach looks at you, hey, was that a foul? And you quickly go to your board and you give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
I don't even think that you're waiting for the coach. I think you're almost reviewing everything. Play that feels like it could be challenged.
Yeah. But they'd catch me watching the backup Terry video again. I watched it 3 or 4 times last weekend because it was 4th of July weekend. I had to watch the backup Terry video.
And he was all over the news.
He was?
He was in a parade
They
float.
had a parade, yep.
And then somebody also sent us, somebody made a very nice watercolor portrait of Terry.
And they made an action figure.
And an action figure.
Oh, see, someone sent me a picture of Terry from the backup Terry video, which we've been playing again here on this program. I thought that was, 10 years old. So recently he was like the grand party guy of a town parade?
Yeah, it was just this last 4th of July.
Oh, that's wonderful. What do they call that again? The
Put it in reverse Terry parade.
Yeah, but what do they call that guy? He's
the Grand Marshal?
Grand Marshal, yes, of the... They had a put it in reverse Terry parade?
Yeah.
in his hometown?
Where was that?
Well,
See if I can find that again.
We got to call this guy. and we got to get him at one of our events. We got a booze cruise coming up again in September. Let's make it the backup Terry Booze Cruise.
I would love that. It was in Memphis.
I would love that.
I want to be friends with him so bad.
Yeah, me too. All right, Randy Shaver. Sticking with baseball. We got a little more baseball to talk with you here. I suppose it's the time of year for that, right?
Yeah.
ESPN has come up with their mid-season grades for all 30 Major League Baseball teams. They've graded each team's performance at this point. They're beyond the halfway point now, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. The Detroit Tigers were the only club to receive an A+.
Yeah.
An A+.
Yep. Makes sense.
Other teams receiving A grades would be the Houston Astros at a smooth A. The Chicago Cubs, who I don't think much of, got an A-. The Toronto Blue Jays received an A-.
You have to put Toronto in there because they are not the favorite to win the East, yet look where they are. They're 2.5 up on the Yankees and, having a great year.
And
nice bounce back year.
I'm not going to cover everybody because it would make you crazy. But I'll just throw this in for the Wisco people. The Milwaukee Brewers were given a B+.
Yep.
The Twins, a D+.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's still passing.
Oh, God, I cherished a D+.
I know. People used to always say the line is C's get degrees, and I'd be like, yeah, and so do D's, baby.
Yeah, I don't think I got a C beyond my 4th grade year. I'm being totally honest with you.
Gosh, it just makes me think of my dad. I found a bunch of his old report cards from back in the day, and I thought of you immediately because it was just D's and F's.
Was it really bad?
That. Yeah, I was like, dude, what the heck
Did
is
he go
going
to
on
class?
Here? Yeah, I don't understand how he graduated.
Did you show it to him? You're like, what were you giving me so much crap for back in the day for coming home with a C+?
Yes, exactly. And he went to a very Catholic school, so I know that. Like, he was definitely yelled at for that a lot.
Well, I told you, after my old man checked out, we were going through a bunch of his things, of course, preparing for a celebration of life, gather up some pictures and this and that, and we were going through these boxes that were stored in his basement that no one had looked through in years. And I found some of his friggin' report cards. And, I mean, it was really bad.
Yeah, I had the same reaction, dude.
But... You know, I thought about it, and I talked to my mom about it. My dad grew up in a town called Lake Wilson, Minnesota. He started working on a farm full-time as a 12-year-old. And a lot of the other folks in the late 50s in that general area, that's what they did.
Yeah.
That's what they did. And so I think one of my questions was, how the hell did he play for the basketball team and the football team and everything? With all these, we hear you have to have good grades to play high school sport. But what occurred to us was, in 1956 in Lake Wilson, Minnesota, like I was saying, these kids had real jobs from the time they were kids. And if a kid didn't get good grades, so what? Because a lot of them are just going to go from high school to the farm.
That's right.
That was definitely the vibe I picked up on. And also, I mean, Catholic family and Irish, so there was like 8 of those kids. They probably didn't really care if a couple of them weren't doing good, because my dad, I think he started working at 13, 14, something like that. Always hard labor jobs.
Fast forward 30 years and everyone was talking about, well, you've got to get good grades. You've got to go to college. That wasn't the way it was back then, especially in a small farming community. It was, hey, have fun in high school because you're going to work your nuts off as soon as they ring that bell. So the Twins got a D+. Here are the worst grades given.
The D+ could have been so much better had they played well after the 13-game winning streak.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
If they had not given everything away after they kind of got themselves the ship righted, it would have been so much better. But
here are the worst grades given. The Cleveland Guardians got a D-. The Athletics got a D-.
They're playing terrible, man.
The Fs were handed out to the Atlanta Braves, Baltimore Orioles, and Colorado Rockies.
Yep.
You got a big fat ass on you, Randy Shaver.
Yes, sir.
We were talking earlier.
Not really, though. It's flat. It's like.
Has it flattened out?
Oh, it's like the wall. Yeah, it's not.
Gravity has caused it to sag. And
yeah.
Because when we first met you 30 years ago, you had an ass like a $2 mule.
I've been told, yes.
Just big and round, and it looked heavy, didn't it, Josh? It looked like heavy to carry around.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Josh wasn't paying attention.
Oh, I was paying it. It was one of the decisions that was kind of pushed you over the edge and made us want to hire you. Now, we can't do that anymore these days, but yeah, that was a big part of it.
Well, appreciate that.
You got a big.
That's how you got the nickname the Ass Man, because it was perfect.
When you have a big ass, you usually get a nickname.
Perfect
and earlier,
hair, perfect butt.
We were joking around about Cal Raleigh of the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
Who has been given the nickname by his teammates of Big Dumper. And the Mariners were playing the Yankees the other day, and the Yankees broadcast team was having fun with the nickname Big Dumper.
They gave him the nickname Big Dumper because he has a pretty large posterior. And he did not like it. His former teammate Jared Kelnick said he hated it. I said, just wait, it'll come around. Then they're making T-shirts about it, and it did come around.
We're getting a close-up.
I don't know if we need that, guys.
He's getting uncomfortable with the close-up.
They had
that camera guy was going for it.
Yeah, he really was.
They were zooming in. They had 4 different angles on Cal Raleigh's ass cheeks.
I was kind of surprised they did that.
Dumper. Okay, the nicknames for Cal Raleigh: Big Dumper, Dumper, Dumpy, or Big Dumps. That's what his teammates call him. He didn't like it at first, but now they're making T-shirts in Seattle with his jersey number on the back, and it says Big Dumper, and they're selling like a sumbitch. He currently leads the big leagues in home runs at 36.
That's amazing. 36.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
With all the alternate feeds we have now for different games, you can watch with these analysts or that analyst. Maybe there'll be one that's just the ass cam that just follows around the Big Dumper all the way through the game.
You know, whenever anyone talks about an athlete with a big ass, there's one guy that comes to mind for me, and I've brought this up to our world-class entertainer friend C. Willie Miles before. I've brought this up to C. Willie Miles because C. Willie Miles is friends with this guy. When I think of an athlete with a big ass, Ted Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Former Vikings running back Ted Brown. He'd always have a little bit of ass crack hanging out the back of his football pants because they just could not contain the thunder that Ted Brown was hauling around.
Yeah. Well, he had the big running back thighs to go with the back end.
And I've brought that up to C. Willie Miles, and C. Willie has said, yes, Ted does have a large ass.
Can confirm.
You know, I don't watch much Jeopardy. Do you folks watch Jeopardy?
Every day.
I love Jeopardy.
Every day you watch Jeopardy, Dana.
I try to. Not as much as I used to, because it used to be religious. I had to watch it every day, but these days I still try to get it in each day.
What do you mean you had to?
Oh, I didn't physically have to. I was that obsessed with it during the Trebek era.
The who?
Alex Trebek.
Oh, Trebek era. Yeah. I don't watch it much, but when I do, I notice that the kind of folks who make it on that program usually don't do well with the sports questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are the ones that go viral, where it's a super obvious answer to anybody else. And these guys are answering questions nobody knows, but the sports ones, they totally bomb.
And it's always so funny, too, because when you just see the isolated clip of them bombing a sports question, it usually just came after they ran the table on a thing about the periodic table of elements or something.
Science, astrology, the human body, but they can't answer, whose nickname was Magic. They can't. It's bizarre, but it's true. Do you have the audio of this Gong Show from Jeopardy yesterday, Josh?
Yeah.
Let's see what Randy thinks of this.
This UConn star had an intense spring in 2025, playing on her first national championship team and being picked first in the WNBA draft.
Oh, my gosh.
Rahul.
Who is Caitlin Clark?
No.
What?
Sarah.
Come
Paige
on.
Beckers.
They even showed a picture of it. There's a picture of
What? No
They
way.
showed a picture of Paige?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I love the guy's delivery, too. Caitlin Clark.
He's just like, all right, well, I know one female basketball player, so I'll give it a shot.
Well, at least he knew that. Yeah. At least he knew that.
Because the other two didn't even buzz in.
I've seen episodes. I've seen episodes of Jeopardy where they ask a basketball question and the contestant gives a hockey answer, but at least they got Caitlin Clark out of their mouth.
There's one a year or two ago where some guy completely butchered sports question, and, Ken Jennings like, oh, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. He goes, oh, I'm going to go viral, aren't I?
Was that the guy from Minnesota? Because there was a guy from Minnesota that he butchered a sports question.
It might have been, yeah.
And completely dominated everything else.
Oh, of course,
and he went viral for that.
Now, this is completely on the fly, just for fun. I printed off a bunch of just general sports questions. Because we've got the time for this, Randy Shaver. Let's pretend you're on Jeopardy.
Oh, God. Okay.
Because let's say you went on Jeopardy. Of course, you'd be a little nervous about questions on astrology and science.
I wouldn't buzz in.
But maybe what would make you the most nervous, being a sports fan, is to get a sports question, because you're probably sitting there praying for a sports question, right? But let's say you effed it up, like an easy one like that.
Okay.
That would be most embarrassing for you.
Yeah, with the pressure, sure.
That would be yes. That would be bad.
Just on the fly here, I printed off some sports questions. And let's pretend you're on Jeopardy, and I'll even try to ask them in the form of a question. I will likely sound very rusty because I don't watch a lot of the show. How about this? Okay, just, Randy, relax.
I'm already stressed, yes.
You got this.
This is the word they use when a bowler makes 3 strikes in a row.
What is a turkey?
What is a turkey? Okay, that's pretty good.
He even phrased it correctly.
He did. That was impressive.
And again, sorry if I stall here, but I'm trying to put these questions the way Jeopardy does it. I'll just name the 1980 movie. In the 1980 movie Raging Bull, the movie was made about what real-life boxer?
Who is Jake LaMotta?
Dude, okay. All right. This boxer... Oh, that's stupid.
Didn't you write them?
I just printed these off.
Oh, all right.
2 minutes ago. In motor racing, what color is the flag they wave to indicate the winner?
What is a checkered flag?
All right, yeah, see. That's very easy. I'll try to find a more difficult one. So far, so good. You wouldn't have embarrassed yourself just yet.
How many were on the board? Dana, like in a certain category. How many questions?
5.
5, yeah.
There are 5 different categories?
I'm sorry,
well,
Dana.
no, 5 different questions in the category.
What the hell?
What is 5, Dana?
See, now, okay, again, this was totally on the fly. Now, these questions are very, very easy. It's things like what sport uses a net, a racket, and a shuttlecock?
What is badminton?
I didn't anticipate these would be so easy.
Or maybe I'm just smart.
That's what it is.
You want to get pissed off? I can help you with that.
Not really.
No. I mean, no one wants to be pissed off. But doesn't it kind of feel good sometimes? I think it kind of feels good. I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead with this, and we'll see where it takes us. A famous athlete in Ireland is in a lot of trouble, and everyone hates this guy's guts for good reason. He's pleaded guilty to fraud. What he did now, this guy was famous for the sport of hurling. Now, apparently, they play that with a stick and a ball over in Ireland. Hurling, don't ask me to get any more detail than that. So maybe the most famous hurler in all of Ireland, turns out he's a scumbag. He's been scamming people for years into thinking he was dying of cancer. And it was all phony. What busted him, finally, was he took a picture of himself laid out in a hospital bed looking all sickly with a tube up his nose. And it was his latest little post saying, oh, God, I'm so sick, send me money, I'm dying of cancer, right? And people naturally felt great sympathy. And were naturally drawn to help him because he was this hero hurler. He was like the Michael Jordan of hurling in Ireland. Well, this latest photo was what busted him. He did not have a tube up his nose like legitimately you'd have in the hospital. Dude tried to fake everybody out. What he had was a damn, what do you call that thing, Josh?
It's an iPhone charging cable.
He had an iPhone.
And it was completely obvious.
Right.
And he's using, like, masking tape.
Right. Nothing looked real about it.
What, dude?
So this all went to court. And that was the most damning piece of evidence against him was, he admitted also, yes, this has all been a not a prank because it's not funny. What's the word I'm looking at? A scam. This has all been a scam.
What a terrible person.
And apparently he's, like, revered over there. He's well-known and well-liked.
DJ Carey is his name. When folks looked a little closer at the picture, they saw that this supposed breathing tube or whatever he tried to pass it off as that he had stuffed up his nose was an iPhone cable taped to his face, inserted into his nostril.
What a dork.
And it's not even really in the nostril. You can tell. I mean, this looks so stupid.
How can you do this to people?
I don't get it.
This just went to court. From the years 20 and 14 all the way to 22, he falsely claimed he needed money for cancer treatment. And now he's been found guilty of multiple counts of deception and fraud.
Maybe I missed it, but does it say how much money he got from people?
I didn't have that in front of me.
This story doesn't say. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know how much money he ended up pulling out from under people.
Well, I believe in karma, and it's going to hit him good.
Other scandalous sports-related stories from around the globe, Randy Shaver. A Chinese soccer club has been fined some money for attempting to channel evil spirits by placing, like, voodoo dolls in their opponent's locker room.
Jobu?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The Chinese Professional Soccer League said that doing this, placing voodoo dolls in their opponent's locker room, violated their ethics code. It's 2025.
I like it.
Yeah, I wanted to put a curse on the locker room.
That's what they attempted to do.
I'd be so scared.
Before one club played the other, the home club went into the visitors' locker room and placed, what they call here superstitious dolls and items to try and increase their chances of winning by putting
I do it myself.
a curse. I curse you, they said.
I cursed an apartment building across the street from my apartment building once.
How'd you do that?
I was living in this old, janky, broken-down apartment, and they were building one of those new, fancy, high-rise type things, and the construction started every morning at 6 a.m., and it was 23, 24 at the time, so of course I was hungover most mornings and just annoyed at the sound of this place. So one night I took my Rocky V DVD out of the box set, and I went and buried it in the dirt underneath the apartment building. Therefore, it's got the Rocky V curse on it now.
What does that include?
Rocky V was terrible.
You're such a dork. I love it.
What
That's
in the
awesome,
world?
dude.
That was a hell of a journey you just took.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I didn't think it was terrible.
By the way, don't ever tell my brother that Rocky V was terrible.
Yeah.
Your brother likes Rocky V?
He'll choke the hell and he'll choke you out.
He could, too. He's
He'll
strong.
Step on your nuts.
His handshakes alone intimidate me.
He was so pissed off in 1991 because on the same night that Rocky V hit what do you call those places we watch movies?
Theaters.
On the same night that Rocky V hit theaters, so did Home Alone. And a group of our buddies went to go see Home Alone instead of Rocky V, and he still hasn't forgiven those fellas for that.
I do appreciate that type of grudge holding.
Oh, God, he holds a lot of grudges. Angel Reese, not Caitlin Clark, has been named the cover athlete for the WNBA edition of NBA 2K26. Are you following everything that just came out of my mouth?
People are pretty unhappy.
Are they really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I told you idiots a long time ago who the best player was. Now it's time to suck it up.
Because people are saying, like, all right, forget about Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese isn't even the second best. That's why people are pissed.
I put the young lady from the Lynx, Collier. She deserves to be on that cover.
So NBA 2K has like 3 different covers for their latest video game. They've got an NBA edition, and that one they put wildly overrated MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on that cover.
Oh, he's not overrated.
Well, no, he's not. He's wildly overrated.
No, he's
for
not
the WNBA, they put Angel Reese on there, and for the Superstar edition, they went with Bret Hart. No, I'm kidding. For the Superstar edition, they went with Carmelo's Anthony.
All right.
So, Ashley's right. There are people kicking their dogs all over town because Caitlin Clark isn't on the cover. Instead, they gave it to Angel. Well, maybe if Caitlin Clark would have beat Angel Reese in that NCAA title game a few years ago, she could. But she didn't. She lost to Angel Reese. But again, like you guys were bringing up a few days ago, the rest of the WNBA doesn't like this. They don't like Caitlin Clark.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I did see some.
It's just amazing to me. Yeah.
I did, because there's rumors of her own locker room not liking her. But there was there were some videos that came out like last week of her dancing and having fun with the girls in the locker room. People were like, there you go.
I think her teammates are behind her. I think Sophie Cunningham, they got her back.
They seem pretty tight.
But it's the rest of the league, and it started with the veteran players, before the draft even happened, about, coming into the league and, with the bravado. The problem is that she brings this incredible, as we all know, fan support to the game, not just her, but the whole game. Every arena is feeling the effects of this popularity. But they don't, not a lot of them, it seems like, appreciate what, her fame and her popularity has done for the game. So
well, here's what I read that caught my attention. I'm not the biggest WNBA follower in the world, but this caught my attention. So they've got an all-star game coming up, right?
Yep.
In a week or two, the WNBA. It's a big thing. Caitlin Clark is captaining one team, and the gal here from town, is it Collier? Is captaining.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
When the WNBA players sat down to vote on who should be in the All-Star game, Caitlin Clark came in 9th.
She was the 9th guard. That's right.
So weird.
9th guard?
I didn't know it was...
She was the 9th guard.
Not just the 9th player. The 9th guard. That's even worse. Right. They don't like her.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's
a jealousy thing.
It is, and it's so disgusting to see. Like, come on, women.
Oh.
We're supposed to be building each other up. Bunch of haters.
When's the last time you were at a bar, Ashley, and some gal walked in and you said under your breath, who does this bitch think she is?
I think it's been a while since I've been in a bar.
Well, yeah.
But no, it's been a while. I try to get better at that because I can feel I'm like, what am I doing? She's just vibing, doing her thing. I don't need to be such a brat.
Well, dudes do it too.
That makes me feel better.
I have 2 pals. Specifically, this is the way men do it. Women can just see another woman walk into the bar and they say, who does this bitch think she is, right? Dudes, when we do it, it's when a guy we don't think is good enough is in the bar with an extremely good-looking woman.
That's
number one.
I have 2 pals who will do this until they're out of breath at the friggin' bar. Until they run out of wind. Look at this jack off. Because he comes in with a really hot leg. Look at this friggin' idiot. Who the hell does he think he's doing? And it's just... And I always say, if you're such a player, go take her away from him then.
That's what I said to a buddy once. He goes, how did that guy get that girl? I don't know, because he had the courage to go up and talk to her at some point rather than just sit around with his buddies behind their beers.
We'll turn on each other in that fashion, Ashley. It's the most pathetic thing in the world.
You should have heard how many times somebody uttered that at your wedding date. And you're standing up there and everybody's saying some terrible things.
People are texting each other like, is this real?
What's wrong with her?
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, but like I said, I've been working on it. The older I get, the more I realize all that stuff is so petty.
Oh, man. Back to that new NBA video game. NBA 2K26 or whatever it's called. This is very funny. You know, I was joking around about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being on the cover. Someone sent me a still shot. This is so perfect. Someone sent me a still shot from the video game where Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is being guarded by Anthony Edwards, and Edwards is just simply guarding him. And Gilgeous-Alexander's body is violently lurching backward as if he's just been hit in the chest with a crossbow arrow or something. Ah! You know, Gilgeous-Alexander isn't the only player who does it, where as soon as there's any contact, they throw themselves backwards. Oh, God, I need a whistle. You know the scumbags breaking into pro athletes' houses trend that's been a hot thing here the last couple of years?
Yep.
You know who they got this time, Josh?
Who's that?
Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch from the WWE.
I saw that. That's not cool.
I wouldn't mess with Seth freaking Rollins.
I wouldn't mess with either of them.
No, he's the, what the hell's his nickname again? He's the, someone text me on that. Because everyone's, you know, Triple H is the cerebral assassin. You know, Randy Orton is the legend killer. What do they call
Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare.
Right. What is Seth Rollins again? It's very elaborate, if I remember. Anyway, so this is how they do it. These scumbag, low-life bastards, they wait until they know these athletes are performing, basketball game, baseball game, whatever, and then they know the house is empty, so they kick the door down. The other night, while WWE was in Providence, Rhode Island, putting on an episode of their show Raw, some losers kicked in the door of Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, their house in California, and stole $10,000 in cash and this and that and other things like that. Oh, the architect of aggression. I think that's where I was going. Seth Rollins is the architect of aggression.
$10,000 in cash?
Yeah, why did they have $10,000?
Yeah, what's going on? They got a safe or something?
We read about that all the time. When these athletes get their doors kicked in, yeah, the bad guys got away with $185 in cash or something. What?
What the heck? I don't have to worry about that. I think the most money they would find in my house is my change jar.
Yeah, right.
Have one of those.
Right.
Oh, no, they got my up-down tokens.
Oh, God.
Don't act like that wouldn't break you, Dana.
Oh, you'd be messed up.
My American Legion drink token.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I'm the worst at that.
I bet you have. And then you forget them at home every time.
Every single time. A few years ago, I just brought them into the bar and handed them out. I think I had 85 of them.
What are they good for? Just like each one a drink?
A free drink or a half-price drink, depending on the color of the chip. And I put them in my pocket, and I put them in a jar at home, and I'm always mean to bring them back to the bar. I finally brought them in. It's like a garbage bag full, and just spilled them on the bar and said, who wants in? Who wants in?
Well, at least you're able to redeem those. There's nothing worse when you go to one of those, maybe like a county fair or something, and you have to buy the beer tickets. And then you always end up the next morning, you got 5 extra beer tickets in your pocket, and you're like, all right, well, these are worthless.
That's why when I go to events like that, Dana, on my way out the door, I hand them to a kid.
Yeah, a kid.
Hand them to a kid. Go have some friggin' fun. All right, Randy Shaver, tomorrow's Friday when we get to just F off and do whatever we want. It's Come As You Are Friday tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You can be naked, drunk, whatever combination of that.
Well, I don't think it'll be that, but that's fine.
All right, Cubby, it's all you.
I'm the guy for the job.
Josh, you lead the way.
Yeah. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Randy.
See ya.
As we were saying earlier, we're going to welcome in a guest here in a few minutes, Dr. Andrea Johnston from Gurman Animal Hospital in Minnetonka. So if you have any questions about your pet's health, behavioral problems, things like that, she can try to help you out. Text us at the number 651-989-9393. We'll have a wonderful chat with Dr. Andrea when we come back on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Hey, podcast pals. It's Dana from the Half-Assed Morning Show. As always, we appreciate you checking on the podcast, and it's all brought to you by our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. The July heat means it's officially swass and crotch soup season. Gross! It also means our AC units are being put to the test. I recently went through an issue myself, and I was so happy to have my friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning in my corner. They gave me real options, didn't make me feel like a dummy for not knowing a single thing about HVAC systems, and let me choose what worked best for my home and my budget. No pressure, just comfort my way. Enjoy the show, thanks for listening, and stay cool this summer with Standard.
Hello, my loves. It's Lala Kent. Yes, that Lala. And if you're not listening to the Give Them Lala podcast, here's what you're missing out on.
I stayed with my 2 kids. Mom and Kristen shared a room, and you and Landon shared a room. What the hell is going on? A lesbian couple, a gay couple, and then this
random woman with 2 kids.
So weird, but to me, it's the most common thing. This is my brother, his best friend, and my mom and her best friend. This is just how we roll. This is called the pod, okay?
Give Them Lala. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
It's Dr. Andrea.
Here to save you about $5,000 and answer your pet questions. It's Dr. Andrea.
On the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, as we've rolled into 8:28 on this Thursday morning, we're back here on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show with our special guest, Dr. Andrea Johnston from Gurman Animal Hospital in Minnetonka. Our text number goes like this, 651-989-9393. Text on in if you have a pet-oriented question for Dr. Andrea. Welcome back and welcome home from vacation.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be back.
You went off for a while to Glacier National Park.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Is it? Everybody says it's awesome.
Oh, it's insanely beautiful. I mean, it's just gorgeous.
Big family gathering.
Yeah, 17 of us. My sisters and their kids, and my parents.
And everybody lived to talk about it?
We did, surprisingly, besides the bear spray
The incident. Yeah. There was an incident off air. She told us about this, and we got to talk about it on air. Way out there in the middle of nowheres. I know I found this out when my wife and I recently went to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. If you're going to F around out there, they recommend you buy a bucket of bear spray.
Yeah.
Okay, and so you did that.
Yep.
And there was an incident with the friggin' bear spray?
Yeah, so my 7-year-old niece thought that the bear spray was bug spray.
Oh, no.
And took off the safety. I don't know how she got the safety off and sprayed it. I'm not joking. I mean, my mom and my sister were vomiting in the sink.
Oh, no.
My 12-year-old couldn't see for a good 15 minutes. I mean, one of them had to go in the shower because she had like contact burns on her skin.
Oh, my God.
And I think I coughed for a good 2 hours.
You gotta be.
And it was one spray.
Kidding me.
One spray.
That's like out of a movie.
It was. I wish there was a camera on it because we would have been on America's Funniest Home Videos.
I picture Will Ferrell being the dad in that movie.
Yeah.
Insane.
The kid gets it out, hits the button, and everyone's running for their lives.
Yeah, well, and it's like a delayed reaction, and it's actually bright orange, the spray.
Yeah.
It comes out orange. And it's pepper. We looked it up. It's pepper spray, but it's potent.
Yeah, I've always heard it's even worse.
Was it at least comforting to know it worked in case a bear had come by?
Well, so bears, their sense of smell is like, we learned this, 8 to 10 times more stronger than a person. So one spray and those bears are gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, don't mess with bear spray.
Oh, my gosh.
That is an incredible story.
Did you guys throw it away after that?
Well, no, because we needed it. And that stuff isn't cheap. It's like $60 a can or something.
I think we paid like around 80 actually.
Yeah.
So this kid, anytime you're at a family gathering and there's bug spray around, someone's going to dump a joke on
Poor
her.
thing. And she was the least affected because she just put it in her hand, but the rest of it aerosolized.
That's outstanding.
Maybe that was her plan all along.
Maybe.
Oh, dude.
All right.
Yeah, she's going to have a nickname, and that'll be a fun family story
forever.
Well, she can't have the nickname Cubby. That's already been being used. But 651-989-9393 again, the number if you'd like to ask Dr. Andrea a question. We can start here with a Wheaton Terrier that was recently diagnosed with alopecia. What's the best way to deal with this?
Yeah, so that's an odd breed to have. There's something called alopecia X. People get it too, where they lose all their hair. Pomeranians typically get it, but it is genetic. There's really not much. I guess you need to confirm it by biopsying the skin to confirm alopecia X. Make sure it's not like allergies or something else or thyroid disease. Melatonin can work,
Okay.
but there's really not much you can do.
There's a mention here of, someone recommended melatonin, and now
Yeah.
you have as well. Okay. A hairless dog, are they still kind of cute? I don't know if I've ever seen
I love them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, a Chihuahua would be the one.
Well, we see Chinese crusteds.
Okay.
And then there's also the Mexican hairless.
I mean, a hairless dog doesn't sound so bad for your general housekeeping.
I mean,
right?
I love hairless cats.
Yeah.
They're so warm.
What happened right there, Ashley?
I got to chill when I looked at the crusted dog. What did you say it was?
The Chinese.
They are kind of goofy looking.
Yeah.
It's just a wrinkled farm.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a visceral response to that.
Yeah, you just, she winced when she looked at the picture. Hairless pets, yeah, they're cute. Okay, good luck with your Wheaton Terrier.
Yeah.
Here's a question about I hope I don't slaughter this. Coton de Tulia?
Coton de Tulier.
De Tulier?
Yes,
I think
French.
played defense for the Calgary Flames back in the 80s.
De Tulier.
Yeah, fancy breed.
Okay, they've got a 14-year-old, one of what you just said, with a heart murmur. Any movement makes him cough uncontrollably. At his age, is this a concern?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would get chest x-rays to see if the heart's big. If it is, there's medication you can start the dog on. If it's in heart failure, it'll cough, so you should start it on some Lasix, just like people.
That scares me.
Diuretic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would get that dog in. It could just be tracheal collapse, but I would get things checked out.
I thought anytime a dog coughed, there was at least some
Yeah,
cause
I think
for
it's worth
concern.
looking into.
Yeah.
How can you tell? I know I've struggled with this before. How can you tell the difference between them coughing or them just I don't know, doing like a choking thing? How they like kind of clear their throat or
Yeah, I mean, the older dogs they kind of sound like an old man.
Yeah.
Okay. Retch like that.
It's kind of unmistakable.
Oh,
yeah,
all right.
There's
Yeah.
definitely a difference.
Yeah.
Can you tell, what is that dog, the Tulier, what does that look like?
It's just like a little white poofy dog.
Oh,
It looks like the
They're
Snuggle
like
Bear.
10-ish pounds.
It looks like the bear from the Snuggle fabric softener commercial.
Yes, these
That's
things
one cute bear.
are super cute.
They are cute.
I would like to
Not cheap.
take that to the
Sounds expensive.
take that to the what do they call it? The dog park. A pet diffuser. Do they really work to calm and reduce stress of your pet?
Yeah.
Explain that. I'm sure you have discussed this before, but I'm not putting two and two together.
Yeah. No, so those are the ones that emit that maternal hormone that's supposed to be calming, like a pheromone.
Oh, yeah.
So they have Feel Away as like the cat version. You can plug it into the wall if a cat's peeing outside the litter box. You can have collars that they can wear
Okay.
that can calm them. It's just supposed to kind of take the edge off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if the dog or cat is super aggressive, it doesn't work. But for like minimal, subtle things, you could try it.
You know what we just got for our Yorkie, who Dr. Andrea has admitted many times in this program, it's the cutest dog she's ever seen. The dog goes by the name of
Adorable.
Gertie. We just got her a Thunder jacket.
Those aren't cheap. I was looking at those at Petco the other day. I was like, holy cow.
Oh, I didn't ask any questions on that. What are you talking about?
Well, I guess not.
Like thousands of dollars?
Yeah, I was going to say I should reiterate that. Not cheap for me. They're like $50-$60.
What is a Thunder jacket?
Well, I'm curious. Did you get
Like
it
an
for
Oklahoma
the
basketball fan?
anxiety or the thunder?
No, the dog doesn't notice storms or anything. She's too busy staring into our eyes 24 hours a day. I can't remember. Because we took this trip out of town for a week. And we were leaving the dog with my sister. Not that Gertie doesn't already love my sister, but just an extra source of comfort for the dog while we're gone. We got her this coat. It just wraps snugly around the... Josh, you could use one of these on certain days. It's just this coat that wraps snugly around the dog, and the dog just feels... In theory,
Swaddled.
the dog feels more comfortable and swaddled.
Like a weighted blanket for
it was first used because it's supposed to like repel electricity, so that's why they call it a thunder shirt, because they sense the thunder and the storm coming, and then they realized it was helping anxious dogs.
There
and
you
it was
go.
swaddling them.
Yeah, swaddling. Yeah.
Can you ask the doctor about my dog having very fishy breath? I've tried everything, and it's just not going away. And she's a mouthy bitch and likes to give everyone kisses.
I've got one of those.
Yeah, I mean, I'd make sure she doesn't have any dental disease or tartar. She needs her teeth cleaned or an abscess in her mouth, so I'd get her in and check out that. But I also worry about... So a lot of dogs that have, like, this is gross, but anal sac issues and they lick their rear end, that smell from their anal sacs is super fishy.
The worst. That's how you can always... Oh, you got to go out. All right.
Yeah, so...
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's not good.
No.
Oh.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Gosh, and sometimes it, like, gets on the blanket. I feel like it's just, like,
horrible.
permanently
That
there.
smell stays around.
I mean, one drop, if I get it on my scrubs at work, I'm done for the day.
Yeah.
Oh.
We have to change.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's from hell. It comes straight from
And they're never
Satan's-
embarrassed. They should be, but they never are.
Satan created that with a group of minions thousands of years ago. I know you've answered this before, Dr. Andrea, but just in case folks haven't heard your opinion on this, which dog breed has the most awful breath?
Ooh, gosh. There's so many.
Yeah.
What about what diet? Is there a particular...
Fish. I mean, any dog that's on a fish diet,
That's
you
the
can
worst.
smell it. Yeah.
I had a dachshund his breath was brutal.
Dachshunds have pretty nasty teeth.
Brutal.
Yeah. The longer the nose or the shorter the face, like a pug,
Yeah.
those are usually the ones, or a dachshund or a greyhound.
Because the bacteria stays and it thrives there for decades.
Although I removed, 25 teeth yesterday on a 4-year-old Schnauzer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they
Whoa.
have Schnauzers have pretty bad teeth.
Oh, so he's
25.
just
How many-
gumming it now.
Yeah, how many does he have left?
Yeah, what does he
Well,
got?
dogs have 42 teeth.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he's gumming away at everything from here
And they
on
still
out.
eat hard food, too, even after they've had their teeth pulled.
Man.
Yeah.
We're talking with Dr. Andrea Johnston from German Animal Hospital. Obviously, our wonderful listening audience is sending in their questions to 651-989-9393. An 18-year-old cat, a listener of ours has an 18-year-old cat with a thyroid condition. He's on medication. Seems to be helping, but he's urinating all over the house. I have 2 litter boxes. Any other ideas?
Yeah, I'd get his kidney values checked out. A lot of times once you start treating thyroid disease, the kidney values tend to spike. So I'd get that checked out. They don't play well in the sandbox, kidney disease and thyroid disease. So
18-year-old cat. That's a pretty good push right there.
Oh, yeah.
It is. It's impressive.
Here's someone that recently had their young grandsons move in. They said our 2-year-old bully mix and our 5-year-old boxer are acting ridiculously aggressive toward each other. And they're jealous of almost anything my wife or I do that doesn't involve them. Do you have any suggestions on how I can curb this behavior?
Suddenly there's competition.
Yeah, I don't know if they're trying to protect the owners with the kids in the house or if it's like attention-seeking behavior, but that's a tough one. You might need to consider getting them on medication or seeing a behaviorist if they're going to live with you long term.
Can you, I mean, if you have to, can you bring the kids to the Humane Society?
Yeah, get rid of the kids.
Send them to a different family.
Yeah.
I mean, littler dogs. Are they littler dogs, Josh?
You sound bigger.
I just deleted
I think
it.
one
Was
was
like
a pit bull, and they sound bigger. So.
I thought that smaller dogs in general see children as competition.
Yeah.
They've always got an attitude about it.
And I would just assume the fact that they're battling each other, the dogs, is probably just because they're in a pissy mood. You know what I mean?
I think they're trying to figure out where they stand in the hierarchy of the house now that the 2 kids are in the house.
I'm sure you're right. Good morning, plebes.
That's us.
And Dr. Andrea, this next text begins. I have a question for the brilliant veterinarian. 2-year-old golden retriever recently started acting sluggish, only eating half of his food. Took him to the vet, had a full blood panel, found out his red blood cell count is slightly low. All other levels are normal. Could this anemia be caused? This is a very interesting question. Could this anemia be caused by chemicals from our new couch? He wouldn't sit on it at first, and the timeline matches up. He seems to be slowly improving, though. Thank you.
Wow.
Chemicals from a new couch.
Yeah, I mean, things are so safe these days. Even the stuff they spray in your yard is safe for a dog too, because it's so diluted. I doubt it's the chemical. My concern would be tick-borne disease in a 2-year-old dog. I mean, we see a ton of tick-borne disease with lethargy and kind of those non-specific symptoms and anemia. I would follow that red cell count. I would consider getting checked for Lyme disease and anaplasma.
One of my dogs had the second thing you said.
Anaplasma.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
What was that other thing that you said?
I thought for sure, I thought she was dying. It was so bad.
And what was it? Well, I'm sorry.
Anaplasmosis.
And what is that?
It's just another tick-borne disease.
Yeah, she had the tick on for too long. I mean, it never even found the tick. So it was on long enough where it probably got so big. And, I felt so terrible about it, too.
I mean,
Buddy
to be
of mine-
honest, go ahead.
No. Let's continue to talk swelled ticks. I do. I want to talk more about swelled ticks.
I was going to say that the things we should be afraid of out of anything is ticks. They carry so much disease. There's this new one out there that causes a red meat allergy for people. So if you get bit by this tick, you are anaphylactically allergic to red meat.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about that.
Yeah.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Josh always checks his new girlfriends for ticks.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you got to be safe.
Check you for ticks.
He's a gentleman like that.
You mentioned the red meat allergy.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing, like in a lab somewhere, a bunch of cows wearing lab coats and developing this, sending it out there. Big Strong Jesus has a German Shepherd mix that has what doctors are calling sudden collapse syndrome. If he gets too overheated, he starts to walk like a drunk. Wants to know what he can do besides trying to keep them cool and calm.
Yeah, so the University of Minnesota actually has a gene lab for that disease. It's a genetic thing called exercise-induced collapse. Usually it's in Labradors, though, so maybe that dog is part lab. But you can get it tested to confirm it, but there's really not much you can do besides keeping your dog cool and avoiding it from getting too stressed and hot.
Exercise caused collapse.
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Dude, the other day I ran into that myself.
Not really a question, but we appreciate the text anyway. It's a story of great victory. A pet owner who had a great victory the other day. 14-year-old cat would never poop in the litter box, ever, in any of those 14 years. And now suddenly, the cat has started to poop in the litter box.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. That's from tired of cleaning up poop, Jesus.
Yeah, I bet.
14 years of turds outside. Now the cat finally is putting them in the box.
Well, it's got to be encouraging for folks who just adopted a kitty going through the same thing in another 14 years.
I mean, that never happens where they start pooping in the litter box.
Yeah, I don't know. That they don't know what happened, but they're just celebrating from one end of town to the other.
No Name Jesus has a 3-year-old German Shepherd Rottweiler mix. We had one of those, best dog I've ever had, who has now begun to randomly pee in the middle of the night while sleeping.
Is it female?
Did they say? Doesn't say.
Yeah. So if it's a female, it's incontinence.
Oh, I'm sorry. It says he's.
Oh, he.
It does say he.
Males can get incontinence too, but I would make sure that there's nothing else going on in the bladder. Make sure there's not a stone bouncing around in there or an infection. Make sure it's neutered because the prostate could be big too. I'd get that dog checked out, but it might be incontinence if it's just at night while the dog's sleeping. There's meds for that.
Got a little story here about a 10-year-old male Munsterlander.
Ooh, I like Munsterlanders.
Munsterlander.
I gotta look that up.
Yeah.
They're good hunting dogs.
Are they?
Mm-hmm.
Look one of those up.
Oh, cute.
I don't know if I've ever. This dog.
Oh, yeah.
Just had TPLO surgery 2 weeks ago. What is that?
ACL. Towards ACL.
Okay. The owner of this Munsterlander says, would it be okay if I take him swimming?
Too early.
Too early.
Yeah. I would wait at least till that 8-week mark.
The surgery was 2 weeks ago. You're saying wait another 6 weeks.
Yeah, usually we have them go in at 8 weeks to take x-rays to see how things are healing. And then you get the green light to do more active things until that 12-week mark, and then they're fully recovered.
Ashley, what did you think? You saw a picture of the Munsterlander. What do you think?
So cute,
Yeah.
especially as puppies. Oh, my gosh.
I had a client who was running with her Munsterlander, and the foot got stuck in a water grate or like a sewer grate.
Oh,
And then it
no.
went after a squirrel and just like snapped its leg in half. Anytime I think of a Moonster Launder, that's the breed.
Oh, no.
That's what I think of.
That squirrel was laughing his ass off.
Oh, yeah.
Darn right he was.
Oh, poor thing.
This is a funny text right here because it's really not much of a question, just a statement. Sup, guys? I've got an 18-year-old cat named Cosmo. She has a tendency to howl in empty rooms but stops abruptly when someone walks in. She's pretty deaf and sort of blind. Thanks.
All right.
Wow.
Noted.
Thanks for sharing.
Maybe the cat's just got you trained.
I dig it. All cats do that. Well, I shouldn't say all, but a lot of cats do that middle of the night.
Yeah.
And I dig it. I do. And I guess I have noticed, along with this character who owns an 18-year-old cat named Cosmo, I have noticed that if you walk up on them, sometimes they don't want to do that in front of you. Anyone else notice that? Cat people?
I mean, are they just calling for you to show up?
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe they're doing that middle of the night singing, and when you come around the corner and kind of bust him, it's like when you bust a teenager smoking a cigarette. They they don't really know how to react.
Oh, really?
Oh, you got me.
My cat doesn't do that, darn it.
Doesn't do the singing?
No, not that I've heard.
It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Here's someone with that sadly lost a 6-year-old bloodhound to bloat.
Oh.
We lost a dog to that. That's where I had never even heard of it before that. Is there anything we can do to prevent that in the future, they asked?
Yes, get the stomach tacked down to the side of the body wall when the dog's neutered or spayed. So you can do a gastropexy, so you can tack it down so it doesn't twist.
And that prevents it forever and ever.
Normally, I mean, yes, there's those rare cases where it will twist even though it's tacked down, but theoretically it shouldn't.
And
So afraid of that.
What dogs would you recommend that on? Are there specific breeds?
Deep-chested dogs. So Great Danes, Shepherds, Labs.
Okay.
Some big Labs, but
Yeah.
any dog's stomach can twist. Doesn't really matter the breed. But
That's horrible.
Yeah, it's really traumatic.
Yeah, and
really dramatic.
I think everyone's probably known somebody whose dog has gone that way. It's very, very common.
Yeah.
Well, it happened to us. It was super late at night. We got back actually from a car show, and one of our dogs, she was just real lethargic, and weirdly lethargic, and we'd never really seen her that way. So we recently had my son, so my wife's like, I'm just going to run her there to the vet real quick. You can stay home with the kid. And that was the last time I ever saw the dog.
Aww.
I had no idea. Thought it was going to be totally fine. She'd be okay.
It's so
heartbreaking.
traumatic. Yeah.
Sucks.
It does.
Dr. Andrea, I just found an orange kitten that got into my garage.
Cute.
I don't know whether it's a male or a female yet. My kids want to keep it. Do I have to get it neutered so it doesn't spray my house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And spayed.
Man, what
And
couple
or spayed.
neutered or spayed, of course. What a couple of lucky little kids.
That's fun.
You wake up one day, you got an orange kitten in your dad's garage.
Oh, you better make sure it doesn't have fleas. I brought two little kittens home one time that I found on the side of the road. They were in a bag. It was very sad. But I ended up bringing them home, and then I realized they had fleas. I was like, no.
Well,
or ringworm, too.
I no longer wanted them.
Ashley, they were.
I thought it's gonna get on my other pets.
Did you put them in a bag and then throw them on the side of the road?
No, actually, it was. I wonder if you have any places that you know about, Dr. Andrea, that will take these kind of pets, because it was like the hardest thing to find somebody to take them, like a humane society or
Because
police
they have fleas, or
officers.
just in general.
Just in general.
I think you're
it was
supposed
so
to
difficult.
Drop them off at the fire station, or am I mixing them up?
Do not drop them at the vet. I will tell you that.
No.
That happens.
Honestly,
often.
I almost got to the point where I was like, I mean, if I just leave them at the door, they're not going to make them go away, right? But yeah, it was insane because I found them somewhere up north. And so when I got back down to the cities, that's when I called the police or called the Humane Society, and they were like, yeah, we'll get the police to come over and take them. They'll help them find a home or whatever, something like that. And as he put the cats in the little kennel in the back of his car, and then he goes, so where did you find them again? And I was like, oh, Little Falls, Minnesota. He goes, oh, yeah, I can't take these. Yeah, he's like, I can only take them if you found them in the city. and gave me back the cats. I thought,
Fleas
all
are
right,
crawling all over you.
this is going to be a whole process.
I had never heard your story of bag kittens
yeah.
before.
Oh, it was so sad.
Kittens in a bag.
Poor babies.
Apologetic Jesus says, should I be worried my 11-month-old coonhound pulled a tray of brownies off the store and ate 4 facepalm emoji, crying laughing emoji, sideways crying laughing emoji?
Thinks it's pretty funny.
Yeah, right?
They don't say if it's special brownies or not.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother ballgame, right? If it's
Right.
not dark chocolate, then you worry less about toxicity. It's a lot of dark chocolate for them to get pretty darn sick. So if it's been a day, your dog's fine,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
mean,
That's what,
usually
you're
it's
so
within
scared
a few
about
hours, but it's usually dark chocolate.
Okay. We got to wrap it up, but before we go, one of our listeners has texted in to simply brag by stating that their Basset Hound won first place at the Basset Hound races last weekend at Canterbury Park.
Wow,
that's
awesome.
cool.
Oh, I love those dogs so much.
You should brag about that.
I would love to know the mile per hour on
Yeah.
that Basset Hound. Like 3.
Just all ears and ass and just everything flying all up and down the I saw it last year, and it's nothing but fun.
So fun.
They just...
I love that they do that.
The best part about it that I noticed was minutes before the race, these Basset Hounds look completely unconscious on the floor somewhere. You know what I mean? Because that's what they love doing, just laying on the floor, and their eyes are sagging and their ears are, and then 1 minute later, like, what do I have to do? And they try their best.
Do they hang a pork chop or something for them to get to?
Usually just a toy at the finish line, and they'll... Thanks, Dr. Andrea.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Our apologies to the text we couldn't get to. Dr. Andrea, you're too popular. They come in too quickly, and so we didn't mean to leave anybody hanging, but we just can't get to everybody. Before we go, the real Al Bundy Jesus texted in to wish his beautiful wife a happy 15th anniversary, and then happy
God, I thought he was going to say birthday. Oh, my God.
Yeah, no. Anniversary. They got married when she was 1. And happy birthday to Ninjafoot.
Hey, podcast pals. It's Dana from the Half-Ass Morning Show. As always, we appreciate you checking on the podcast, and it's all brought to you by our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. The July heat means it's officially swass and crotch soup season. Gross! It also means our AC units are being put to the test. I recently went through an issue myself, and I was so happy to have my friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning in my corner. They gave me real options, didn't make me feel like a dummy for not knowing a single thing about HVAC systems, and let me choose what worked best for my home and my budget. No pressure, just comfort my way. Enjoy the show, thanks for listening, and stay cool this summer with Standard.